Hello, everybody. This is the 1K, 1,000 subscribers celebration live stream. Welcome, welcome. I see Chadia is here. Jeroen is here. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. And Dan is here. Cool. Thanks, everybody, for showing up. If you're here, because it's only me at the moment, let me know in the chat that you are here. And thank you for the congratulations. To be honest, it's kind of surreal. When I started this in August last year, Tori's here, Liam's here, Aries Man is here. Yeah, thank you. I don't look a day over 912. That's true. My rather gray beard gives me away. Yeah, I wanted to do a little bit of a celebration. I mean, in a way, like I said in my 1K video, it's a bit of an every number in a way, but we do sort of tend to gravitate towards these tens and hundreds and thousands. And when I started this back in August last year, having 1,000 people who wanted to listen to me bullshit on about books seemed unlikely, to be honest. And I'm really surprised and happy and grateful to all of you that after 7 months, I have 1,000 people. So what I did, actually, there's two things. One, or maybe there's three things. One, thank you all very much. I'm actually totally touched and honored that you actually keep coming back and listening to me talk about books I love. Secondly, in about an hour, I will announce the winner of the giveaway. Actually, I will randomly pull on screen live the name of the winner of the giveaway. And three, I invited, I think, 15 or so cool people that I have met through Booktube, other Booktubers, to join me on screen. So at some point, this is going to become a completely chaotic clusterfuck, which should be fun. And we can start with one already. Hello, Tori.
Hi, Matt. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Tori, for all of you who don't know her, is an awesome booktuber. She is also, I would say, pretty much one of my very favorite booktubers that I've met since I became a booktuber.
Stop.
She is awesome. She is, as she said, I am sort of her weird internet uncle. So
weird and cool.
Weird and cool. That's right.
I said cool. You added the weird.
I added the weird. I did add the weird. That's true. Yeah. So I am her cool internet uncle, which makes her my weird internet niece.
I'll take the weird. It's fine.
I guess. Yeah. Also cool. Also very cool. Thank you all. I'm getting lots of congrats in the chat. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
It's true.
I'm actually, I still don't really get that. I mean, some of it, I think one of the advantages I had over a lot of people is I used to work as a photographer, and I used to do video production and editing for a volunteer organization I was part of, a Buddhist group. And I already had some really good equipment. Yeah, I had lights, I had light stands, I had a tripod, I had a good camera. I bought a few things to get my audio a bit better than I could have otherwise. But hey, Raf is here. Creatively Torn is here. Francois here. Theo's here. Chatty is here. Yeah, we love chaos.
Booktube in a nutshell.
Yeah. Oh, that's very sweet, Chadia. Thank you very much. It's apparently my personality, though. I think the production quality certainly helps. And I don't know that being grumpy and old and swearing a lot necessarily helps, but that's my personality. So yeah. So we'll see how it goes. I'm kind of hoping and expecting that at some point there will be too many people to have any kind of sane conversation. But we'll see. The other thing I wanted to say, and this is sort of me announcing it for the first time anywhere, except on the Discord. Those of you who are on the Grimoire Discord probably already know this. If you don't know exactly what the Grimoire Discord is, it was, up until recently, a Grimoire that was shared, or a Discord that was shared by 4 guys. Theo, who's the Rekindled Reader, Alex, who's Tall Guy Reads, RJ, I think his channel is also called RJ Reads.
Yep. And
Baron, who doesn't really booktube much anymore, but I think he does have a channel. It's called Your Brain on Books, I think. And those 4 guys ran a Discord together. And I really liked that idea because it seems to me every time someone starts a new Discord, it creates a little separate community away from the community. And I always like the idea that these guys share a Discord and bring all of their friends, fans, viewers together in one place. And I recently asked them, I said, I hit 1,000 and I want to start a Discord, but I don't want to start a Discord because I don't want to contribute to narrowing off all these little communities. And they said, yeah, of course, you can join us. And pretty much the same day, they asked Joanna. So Joanna and I are now officially part of the Grimoire gang. It is our server together with the other guys. So I have my Discord without having to create my Discord, which is cool. The other thing is with 1K, and I'd always had this in mind, and I thought, you know, before 1K, definitely not. Maybe when I get to 1K, I'll do it. I want to start a Patreon. And I've basically got it set up. I think I thought up one of the most unique top tier patron benefits that anyone has. When you join as a high mage, my tiers are Marine, Cadre Mage, and High Mage. If you join as a High Mage, you get to name my sword. But of course, you only get to name my sword up until the point where another High Mage joins, because then they get to name my sword. So everybody gets my sword name for at least 1 month, or until the next High Mage joins. But other things, I won't go into it. I don't want anyone to feel too sold to or pressured or anything, but I will have a patrons only channel on the Grimoire Discord, and I will have everybody's name in every video, and regardless of what tier they're backing at, and all of those kinds of things. So I will do a short video about that sometime soon, once it officially is there and people can start backing and becoming patrons if they want to. But everybody should know, totally optional. Everything else I've been doing that you've hopefully been enjoying for the last 7 months will not stop. I'm not going to cut out anything. Theo, if you want to be a High Mage, you can name my sword Franklin. If you
there are worse names. I feel like that's, I mean,
my sword, I think Chadia's mind is going to the wrong
she's
places.
not the only one.
Yeah,
Theo's being a derp in the comments.
Let me just be clear about what I mean. I'll be right back.
Trust you to cause chaos, Theo.
This sword, Chadia. This sword. I don't know what sword you were thinking of, but this is the sword I'm talking about. This one. You've seen it before. Probably. It's been in videos before. So, enough about all of that. Angela is in the chat. Yeah, Theo, just relax. How many people has it killed? Well, luckily for you, you do not live in Berlin. So, not you.
I was going to say, notice he didn't say none.
No, he didn't. Actually, there's a funny story about my sword. I did the sword. I created the sword in kind of a workshop, and there was another guy, or there were like a bunch of people who were making swords together, and shields as well. And the boom, Josh. And let's make it a nice, even on the screen layout. Raph.
Sweet.
Yo.
Hey, Raph.
Raph
Hey.
is on brand. He has a beer. I have some wine.
Well, heyo.
It's only noon here.
Yeah, it's 7:12 where Raph and I are. We're both in Germany
Yeah.
in the same time zone. So yeah,
It's fine to drink beer at this point, I feel.
Exactly. We can
Well,
drink our
Matt,
alcohol.
Congratulations and cheers.
Thank you very much, Raph. Thank you very much.
I was going to say, Raph showing up without a beer would be like me showing up without a beanie.
Totally. You started at some point to do a couple of videos without beanies, and I was like,
I get yelled at. I'm not
are
even
you feeling
kidding.
okay? Is
Yeah.
everything all right, Tori?
When I show up on live streams without one, people in the comments are like, "Excuse me."
Jared has a wakizashi.
Nice.
Yeah, Jared, but did you make your own? My sword, I actually made it. I forged my sword. Not my dagger. I just bought that recently, which is just because it's a lot more practical for unboxing. I did my unboxing with a sword video and nearly cut myself because my sword is actually sharp. So
I love that your version of a practical box opener is a dagger.
Well, it
is.
Technically is.
It is.
compared to my sword, it's very practical. Yeah. And
I need to deal with my sword. I have one lying around, but it's unused and in bad shape. Maybe I'll, dig a hole somewhere out in the fields and let it lie there for like a year or so, and then go back and do some practical archaeology with it.
Derry, good morning. Derry is getting her morning cuppa, and she's going to join us at some point. So how are you guys
compare Australian and New Zealand accents?
Yeah, I mean, my accent is not super Australian.
It's true.
To be honest, I am partially American and partially Australian, and it depends on where I am and who I'm talking to.
Yeah. But I feel like accents shift in general. It's like the same for me. It's like depending whom I talk to, whether it's in German or in English, it's like after a while my accent kind of shifts towards them in a way.
All right, now we're getting a little Greek.
Yo, yo, yo.
Woo.
What's up?
Hey.
Welcome, Thea.
Congrats, man. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Glad you can make it.
I was wondering if you were just going to troll the comments or actually pop in.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's my cue to leave.
I was gonna say who invited Josh, and then I thought, you know what? If Josh is on, I'm allowed to be on. So
Absolutely.
Totally.
Yeah, I have to say though, like you're probably the fastest growing channel on Booktube in recent history, Matt. It's like I saw you when you asked me, and like you had the 1K, and I'm like, wow. I get to be there and patronize you for being a smaller channel than mine, and that was last week, and now you've already passed me, left me in the dust. That's where I get what I get for having bad intentions, I guess.
I don't know if that was last week, but I was just actually talking in on the Discord with Theo about this, that I think it's really cool how remarkably welcoming people have been.
Yeah.
Like I started 7 months ago and everybody was like, hey, cool, let's do a thing together or come on my channel or whatever, you know.
Yeah,
Except
I feel
Andrew.
Oh,
part of the
no.
thing.
Hey,
You're just inviting anyone and everyone, I guess.
Yeah, basically.
wow.
Derry, I'm
That's-
outnumbered. Please jump on.
I'm a booktube whore. I'm just inviting anybody, whether they're cool
Just
or
inviting
not.
any old little channel onto
Exactly.
your 1K
Wait.
stream.
Yeah.
Why do you think I'm here?
You're basically, I mean, Wizard, you're basically just a shill for PL anyway, aren't you?
Yeah, that's what the hat's for.
I mean, that's just what your channel's for.
No, I mean I talk Drawn Kingdom occasionally, but I'd say I'm more a shill for now for Jenny Wirtz because Chef's Kiss so good.
I'm
I've
so
heard-
looking
I've
forward
heard
to
of
getting
her,
into
yeah.
it.
Hey guys.
Whoa.
What up, Maddie?
Mads,
Hey.
Here.
you made it.
Mad
Excellent.
Dog, what's up?
Mad Dog.
I'm just trying my own nicknames. I never really got like a real nickname, so I'm just gonna make my own, I think.
Yeah, speaking of little channels, I always want to. I was just saying that like everybody on BookTube was so welcoming and encouraging when I first started. I've been pimping Dan, the black and blue collar reader, lately. He's a dude with like arms as thick as my legs and a beard that I could not grow, and he's from Jersey and has an awesome accent and
Awesome.
is pretty cool. So check out his channel.
What's
He
it
may
again?
also join us. The black and blue color reader. You
He
can see
was
it
in
on
the
your
chat
screen.
earlier.
You can see it on your screen right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I can't keep up with everybody. I'm terrible. I'm terrible.
He says his arms are all lard. It does not look that way to me, Dan, but yeah, I'll take your word for it. Whatever.
Whose arms are all lard?
Dan's the black and blue color reader. I don't know if he was talking about my arms, which are actually all lard, but
Yeah.
Boom.
There's Joanna.
Hey,
What
Joanna.
about-
Joanna.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi.
Glad you
Good
have
to
room for
see
me.
you. Yeah, I was actually, after I planned this whole thing, I was then like, does StreamYard have a cutoff?
I used to think it did. I thought it had a cutoff at 6 at one point, and then I realized
We
6
We're
is
on
for
the
basic, and then you have to upgrade to pro to get
Yeah.
10.
Oh, it's 10
ah,
on the paid one, right? So it's still limited. But 10 is okay.
So, yeah, 10's all right. If we get number 11, I'll just randomly kick one of you.
Yeah, I'll leave.
I can just leave. It's I know I'm gone
Fine.
first, so it's fine.
It's probably made for some unpopular opinion that I'll spout into the void.
Yeah. The first
You
one
could
that
do
offends
this
Matt
like
is gone.
Survivor style, and just have people
Exactly.
votes and stuff.
Yeah, you can
We-
put just everyone in waiting list, just randomly kick and have people re-enter whenever someone annoys you, and you're like, yeah. You're out.
I like
Welcome
the idea
back.
that we'll do voting.
Yeah, the
Like, we
tribe.
just
just
ask everyone
votes.
in the chat.
Wow.
Like
That's rough. That's
everybody in
rough.
the
Matt.
chat,
Make me
please
vote
diss
off the
one
island.
guest.
You're gonna make me behave and pander to the masses.
No,
Yes.
it's fine. I'm simply going to go over to the Keymark Discord and rally all my pros before hoes people to come vote for me. So I'm good. I'm blocked.
The tribe has spoken.
Hey, there's
Very
3 of the
good.
4 of us from that.
Practical democracy at work, people.
Yeah.
That's how it works. You find
Yeah.
someone that will vote for you.
That was a
Exactly.
good
And
readathon.
you
That was fun.
campaign.
You
Yeah.
can all
was a
start
good
making your
readathon.
cases.
Yeah.
Raph,
The-
what were you
the-
thinking?
Were you talking about the Keymark readathon?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was really
Yeah.
fun. We had a
is
good
that
time.
still going on?
No,
No.
that was
Oh,
just
it's
1 month.
over, Joanna. I
Yeah.
won. Okay, haven't you
Oh,
heard?
congratulations! I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I didn't know.
Susie with some bull crap crystals.
Eh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I was
fine.
on.
It was
With
it was
some bull
actually
crap crystals.
incredibly close between me and Andrew at the end.
Yeah.
Like what, like 4 or 6 points or something. It was wild.
It was
Yeah,
something
it
like that.
was.
That's amazing. How did you do it? How did you do it?
She used crystals. She cheated.
Yeah, I harnessed the energy of the elements, and that's how I did it.
Hey Dan, if you wanna join now, feel free. I had told some people to join more like at 2, just so that it wouldn't get too overwhelmed. But we still have space.
I have
Yeah,
to
we
go.
need one more to
out
make it look
before
like the
that
Hollywood
anyways.
Squares thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. We need one
Let's
more
play a game
person
show.
to make it.
We all
it,
gotta like start looking at each other.
yeah, exactly.
The Brady Bunch.
I was going to say, how many of you are old enough to know what the fuck the Brady Bunch even is?
I mean, I watched it on
My-
like.
my
Yeah, I
friends
watched
watch-
it
well, my
on,
mom
Was
did.
that directed at me, Matt? Because I feel like it was.
I mean, Theo's not exactly old.
He's older than
and-
me.
Theo's older than
Exactly.
me.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm-
I mean,
Andrew's the closest to me, I think, actually.
if he doesn't have a gray beard, he's not
on the
old
29th
as
of
far
this
as I'm
month.
concerned.
I turned 32 in May.
Hey,
babies.
AP's here.
I have silver hairs that are popping up here, so if that tells you anything.
The fact that everybody that's now popping up is pretty precious.
Thank you, AP.
I'm basically just waiting
it's
for my
making that
hairs to
real
turn
quick.
really grey so I can fully LARP as a wizard.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right?
I just had mine covered up like 2 weeks ago, so I'm doing pretty good right now.
I've
No, I
got
feel
this
like
weird
The wizard
thing
thing
where,
is
like,
good.
above here, everything's black. Like on top of my head, it's all black. On my face, it's all gray. I don't know why.
Yeah.
My dad
so
was the same.
distinguished looking though. Men are so lucky because as soon as they start to go like salt and pepper, ladies are just like, ooh, like it's so distinguished and handsome.
Yes.
Only,
Then
only
we are
ladies,
gray, and
only
it's
ladies
like-
with a dad thing.
I mean, no comment. I always make people uncomfortable. Every time I come on these, I make people uncomfortable. So no comment. But it's just not fair because the women, like, we turn into hags. Like, let's just be honest. Like, village witch. And then the men, though, we're just like, oh, is that George Clooney over there?
Silver fox.
It's so not fair.
It's
Silver
fine though,
fox thing
because
going on.
what is cool? What's cooler than being the village witch? Like, I've got my crystals. Like, I'm ready. I'm ready to go into witch mode at this point.
I've read enough Terry Pratchett to really appreciate witches at this point.
So Dan joined us, but damn, it's dark where you are, Dan. Have you got a light? And AP,
What up,
welcome.
AP?
Hi, Matt.
AP.
Congratulations.
AP, just that so everyone knows, if you've never actually tried to contact AP receives emails, but he never answers them. So I had no idea he would actually turn up.
He's getting more and more like me.
Glad you're here, AP. Welcome. That's better, Dan. Much better. It was
The-
otherwise really dark.
Emails come in, and there are multiple email accounts, and I don't check all of them all the time.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've got 3
I check my
myself.
email like 3 times a year.
Oh,
Lucky you.
God.
Yeah.
I have 600 unread emails right now.
You're
Oh, that's-
muted, Dan. Dan, you're muted. Oh, maybe he's meant to be muted. I'm not sure.
Raf,
I have
Raf,
like,
if it makes you
I have
feel
like
better, I have.
32,000 unread emails. Like 32,000. That's a real number.
Madison, what are you doing? Just delete them.
That
I'm
stresses
not as
me
bad
out.
as Madison. I only have 5,000.
Trying to figure this out. It's a
Guys,
first time for
I-
everything.
A lot of emails. Goodness.
I've got
Okay.
230, and I thought I was bad.
I've got to be honest, I really don't look at my emails that much either. So, it's fine.
Most of the
But
time.
I'm glad you did get the email, AP, and I'm glad you did join us. And welcome Dan, the
Hey.
newest noob booktuber
Everybody
in
subscribe.
the chat.
I
At
We're
just
at
some
love
point,
that.
there'll be more booktubers on like the screen than there will be non-booktubers
That's what
in
it
the
feels
chat.
sometimes.
Right?
That is quite possible. What are we at now? We're at 10. Okay. So yeah. We'll see about this cutoff.
God, 55,000?
All right, now
Wow.
I've figured this out because I clocked in here and I still had my YouTube stream running. So I'm here.
Yeah.
There's a delay and there's conversation and it's like it was messing
Yeah.
me up, man, for sure.
Yeah, you can't
It
run
did so
YouTube
the
and
first
stream
time I
at the
did it
same
too.
time.
I did that once, Dan, just so you don't feel bad. I did that once when I was hosting a chat and I couldn't figure it out and actually had to stop the chat and restart it. And
Oh man.
yeah. So I'm dumber than you are. Congratulations.
That's
No, I
I
think- I
don't think
think you were
that's
just, like-
possible. I
think
actually
you were just
showed up with
braver.
glasses this time because we have an astute crew here, and I wanted to, make sure I was prepared. And they look all right.
Who the hell do you
Look
think
good.
is astute other than AP?
AP counts. Everybody
You know
knows.
what? I saw Raph talk about the darkness that comes before, and then I was just like, I am not smart enough for these books, because Raph
you're
brought
definitely
up
smart
Nietzsche
enough for them.
and all these philosophers, and you actually had me looking into this stuff, so I do appreciate that and all. But I was
Dan-
just like, I might not be smart enough for this series.
Dan, if I can do it, you are going to be just fine.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
It's got nothing to
Man,
do with
it's cool.
smartness. It's all about having time to read a ton. That's basically it.
Oh,
Well,
I wish I had
just
time.
I just started this whole reading journey in my 40s. So
Well,
You were able to read before that, though, right?
yeah, no, I learned when I was 40. I
Congrats.
I just hustled and figured out the whole world kind of without having to read until I hit 40, and then I started my ABCs, and I'm pretty good at it. The X, Y,
takes
and
a
Z
while.
always blends.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
when you finally buckle down and focus on that hook on
MNLOP.
phonics, really pays off.
It
And
does.
next
works
up,
for me.
It really does.
Until you try to pronounce things on your videos.
Yeah.
especially if you read fantasy shit.
Yeah.
Like
So many made up words.
it's one of the things I appreciate
Fantasy
so
names
much.
in general have set me back years.
That's why I
Well,
always
this is
recommend the
actually a
Black
fun
Company
fact.
because they have simple names.
yeah,
Fun
That's
fact
true.
is, I actually don't know how to read at all. I only audiobook, so you don't need to be astute to do
confirmed.
this.
I've been
I
watching
even
Madison's
have
channel
that in
long
my
enough,
my
that's true.
biography. I can't read, so I talk about books.
That's awesome.
Those who cannot do, teach.
Which,
Let's talk about the fields
which in
of
your
paper
case is true.
I know.
I'm sure these strange markings mean something, but I don't know what it is.
I never lie, Matt. Even when I did like my largest book haul in years, that was technically true. Was the first book I bought since.
I tell you, I know you well enough. I didn't
Yeah.
even need to watch that video. I saw Raph recently put out a video that had like one of those thumbnails and the largest book haul I've had in years. And I was like, I know exactly what's in that video. Because it's fucking Raph. It's one book.
Well, it was
He's
the first
making fun of everyone else.
it was the first physical book I bought in like 5 years. I felt proud. I wanted to show it off.
I didn't, like I said, I didn't actually watch the video. I just was like, yeah, I get it from the thumbnail. I didn't realize you
Yeah.
bought a physical book. Why did you buy a physical book? Was it Braille?
No, it was a printed book, but
don't
I
need lots of
couldn't,
videos,
couldn't
Matt.
pirate an ebook, and I couldn't buy an
Yeah.
ebook, and my university library didn't have the printed book, so I had to buy it because I wanted to read it. So I had to scan it physically, all 420 pages of it.
Wow.
Oh,
And then
wow.
have
Really
the
bummers.
the OCR scan turned into audio.
Yeah.
Like you got
Well, like text file now can access it, which is a lot of fun
Right.
because it's an academic book about 19th century translations of Icelandic texts, and it has a lot of Icelandic texts in there. And normal RCR software is not very happy with the Icelandic bonus lectures.
I can imagine.
OCR software also has an issue with the word arms, ARMS, because
Yeah.
quite often it changes it to arse.
I
think that's-
it
I think-
just be that you
Farewell-
have like the
farewell to art.
I think
You
that's
just have
only
the-
Irish.
Yeah.
Minute
OCR
Arts
software.
by Trey Thomas.
What's fascinating is for a lot of
you say
fantasy
men at
work, we're
arse?
talking
That
about
was
people
great.
having
I did.
That was great.
I was thinking of a farewell to arse.
Well,
Actually,
that's one
I'm coming out with a review with Men at Arms, but that is my thumbnail for sure. Men at Arms.
Men at Ars, which is a fantastic book. A Passage at Ars is also very good.
But think if you have fantasy books or even romance books,
Yeah.
he swept her up into his arse.
There is that.
So next time you're reading a
Around
fantasy
the
novel and you
face.
see the word arms, You're just going to go.
It's going to happen. You're going to be reading a book
For the rest of my
you're going to
fucking
read
life.
Arms as Arse. So we need to drop this conversation because that's going to change the whole story, you know?
Yeah, we had this thing going on like once when we talked about like actually a lot of songs make a lot more sense if you exchange the word love with the word but, and it makes a lot of sense. It's very difficult to unhear and unthink these kind of things, though.
I'm just waiting for Philip
It
to come
is.
on and talk about the unwashed arses. Anybody's
Well-
right. Well, sorry. Another Baker joke. I'm sorry, Matt.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah.
I definitely got it.
I would like to point out that Dan was concerned about being not intellectual enough for Booktube
Yeah.
at the beginning of this conversation.
Yeah.
So
And now we're
You're
talking
doing
about
good
butts.
company,
now we're
Dan.
talking about butts.
You've proven yourself.
Oh, see,
But,
a bunch of
but
bum humor.
we are very
it
accommodating.
was started with Raph talking about Icelandic I just lost him after translations, and I'm glad you guys brought Arse into the conversation. So I feel right
If it makes you feel better, Dan, when you started talking about that, I fell asleep for a little bit. So it's totally fine. I was just
Where am
like,
I?
talking about what's in your what? So
Vikings. I was
totally-
talking about Vikings.
Ah, okay. When you say it that way, it
Oh,
sounds
okay.
really cool. actually.
Yes, see, you need to substitute Vikings for
Speak my
Icelandic.
language.
Well, the book
Yes.
is called The Vikings and the Victorians, so there you are.
If you
Sold.
take your intellectual description and you just say axes, like fighting with axes in there, then I'm on board.
Yeah, well, there might be
Sounds-
axes involved.
sounds much better.
Makes it more accessible for you, right?
Angela says there are a lot of people who don't know their ass from their elbow. So
Right.
Makes
Where did
sense.
the R come from? An arse.
Well, you have to be able to roll your arse.
fuck off, AP.
Oh man,
Fuck
Yeah.
nailed it.
nailed it.
Oh
That was
god,
so
I
good.
was not expecting
Have you been sitting there for the last 10 minutes waiting for
He
someone
was
to,
waiting
to
for
ask
that,
you that?
for so long.
Well, I
Yeah.
can tell you it comes from like the
No,
Latin.
you know
There's a-
him. It came right off the dome. There's
There's
no
a-
way he waits for it.
there's a famous book that talks about all of that in Latin. It's called the Ars Armatori.
That's fantastic.
Intellectual joke.
So fun.
You've got fans in the chat, AP, apparently.
He's got fans everywhere. He's like the largest channel here.
That's true.
Yeah.
Really?
Almost, maybe. Well, Philip would be if he was here, but he's the 20K king.
I hit 4K today. Yeah.
Woo!
This morning. I saw that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I actually had an idea for a video that I'll hopefully make tomorrow. I even have a thumbnail to pressure me into working on it. And it's a good thumbnail.
It's
How
just
do
gonna
you
be a
how do
butt
you
cheek,
do
isn't it?
thumbnails, Raf?
Most of the time, I ask my friend John, and then we both get drunk and come up with really stupid ideas.
That sounds perfect.
That's usually how it goes, which is why I ended up wearing having that thumbnail where I wear the wonderful Scarlett O'Hara dress from Gone with the Wind.
Now, my favorite thumbnail of you is you punching a Nazi.
That was from an Indiana Jones movie that we took for that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah,
I'm
that's usually
wondering.
what we do.
I'm wondering, like with the cutoff on StreamYard, if someone's trying to join now, they just can't, or that's probably the case. But that's totally fine.
They might end up in the show, maybe, or not in the show, but in the background, and then you can
In the
see them,
waiting room
hopefully.
or whatever they call it.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
you can just randomly put people on and off. I guess that makes sense.
I don't know.
And
I
then
know
you can
that-
kick
I know
me
that-
off and put them in.
Yeah, well, I know that Derry said she wants to join later. So when you do, Derry, just let me know if you have any problems. Let me know in the chat. If
You're the
Yeah, because you know
explorer.
that.
You're boldly going where no one has gone before by trying to figure out what happens when you click on the join link now.
I just
How
thought
many-
this would be fun.
I've never
How many
seen this many
booktubers
people on
crash
a
the
stream.
internet? Let's see. Let's find
Yeah,
out.
exactly.
Is that one
What
of
is
those? Is this like one of those light bulb jokes? How many booktubers do you need?
We just bring
if we never
StreamYard
hear
down,
from
it
her
just
again,
crashes.
Like, what
Thanks,
if she
Morton.
gets lost in the skill stream or Shadesmar or something? We never hear from her again.
Ugh,
He just
Shadesmar. I don't want to
disappears.
Well, you don't like
There's
Shades more?
others.
Yeah,
Shades more.
honestly, the only book I've DNF'd, and it's when we got there.
Oh, I've DNF'd plenty of books.
But I will. I'm pretty sure I will go back to it. But I was just, why are we at this place? Can we get on with this story? And I was just, I just had to put it down, and I haven't picked it up for like 6 months.
I'm
What
mentally
book are we
unable
talking
to
about?
DNF books. I'm way too compulsory for that. I can't do it.
Who DNFs?
I try.
Here's my thing is I don't usually
Try.
start books that I like up until this point. I feel like everything I've picked up, I already know
Yeah,
if I'm gonna like it for the you know what I mean? Like they come so
I
highly
do.
recommended.
I don't
And
DNF. I put
yeah,
shit
I'm like
down for way
curating
too
my
long.
choices based on like I don't want to waste
That's
my
what
time.
I do.
So,
Yeah,
but
I'm sure
I
I'll
do
pick it up
occasionally.
again.
yeah.
I mean, I DNF series, like I stop series, but I finish
Sure.
books, which is why I've done Wizard's
Good
First
call.
Rule and will never return to that hellhole.
I've actually read that book 5 times. 4 times? 5 times. 4 times? 5 times? I
All
don't
right.
know.
But have you progressed beyond it?
That
I think I read the second book, and then I was like, "This is garbage."
that's one of
That's
the rare
that one
cases.
with a lot of sadomasochism, right? In it.
Normally
Yeah,
I try and
not too.
disregard
I did actually read that.
the author. Normally I just think, there's the book and there's the author and you don't have to pay attention. But I heard too much about Terry before reading any of his books, which made me just think I'm so uninterested.
Something that I've noticed about myself recently is if I know about the author, things about the author before I read the book, it's a lot harder for me to go into the book. Whereas if I learn bad things about the author after I've already enjoyed the book,
I would agree with that. Yeah,
it's a
same
little
here.
easier for me to be okay.
Be
I
like,
can
yeah.
tolerate that.
Yeah, I
Same.
don't research authors before I read books. If I make a video or if I read a book and something strikes me as weird, which happens a lot, that's when I start like researching afterwards. I don't even watch reviews of books that I plan to read before.
Me either. I like to
I
go
don't
in
have
as
time
blind
to
as
watch a lot of
possible.
Booktube anymore.
But with
That's where I
recommendation-
have privilege. I can do that.
I guess it's okay as long as it's Raph that's making the blind jokes.
Well, I feel in general it's okay, but I can't do that to everyone. For me it's totally fine. Go ahead.
I was gonna
Raph,
say
I'm not
for-
gonna lie, I didn't know that about you.
You didn't know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really hide it, but I could just be awkward and not be able to look at a camera when I talk. That's totally possible, right?
I mean, Brian Lee Durfee does it every day.
Yeah, right.
I have a blind brother, so I feel like I'm like allowed to make all the jokes, and
Yeah.
we have some real good ones. His name is Silas, so we call him Sightless. It's really good.
That is fun.
Oh my god.
He's also a baby. So
Wow.
it's hilarious.
My mother died of cancer, and we spent a lot of her last year making horrible jokes about cancer. So,
Oh,
It's a coping mechanism.
but
yeah.
it just depends. Like if you don't know someone that well, you never know how they're going to take
Right.
a joke. But
yeah.
Gallows humor.
That kind of happened with my grandmother. I mean, she didn't have dementia, but she was 96 or something when she died. And so she was kind of not all clear all the time in the last couple of years. And so they would just make her sons and daughters would just make fun of her all the time. And she just took it in good humor, like, oh, leave alone an old lady kind of thing. And I
Yeah.
thought that was really sweet, that they could do that.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
gotta
I
know
mean-
your audience for sure, but
Yeah.
my mother said that me making horrible jokes about cancer was like one of the only things that still made her laugh at the time. And I was like, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know what?
got you,
I
Mama,
that's important.
got you.
I agree with Derry. This is taking a turn. Yeah, we're like wasn't planned. We now hold an official Booktube record. This is the live stream where AP Canavan has said the least.
For now.
History is being made.
It's
He's just waiting
it's
for that
insane. He
opportune
said like
moment to
maybe
make
10
everybody
words the
laugh
whole time.
to the point
AP,
where they
how are you
themselves, And
doing?
then he can just chastise
You need
us.
to
Speak,
talk,
AP.
please.
Is everything
Well,
okay, buddy?
I don't like talking over people, and with this many people, you're always trying to make sure that everyone gets a chance to speak. But the other thing is, I actually was only popping by to say hello and congratulations. I really do have to go, but Matt, it has been fantastic chatting with you in the past. I look forward to chatting with you again. Congratulations again, my friend. And
thank you so much. And you are also, you are the first person that ever had me on their channel. So I really appreciated that at the time. I was slightly terrified to be talking to you and trying to defend my opinion of the Rings of Power. But it was a very enjoyable chat, and it made me realize I didn't have anything to worry about or be nervous about at all. It was a lot of fun.
People having differences of opinion about the things that they like, the things that they enjoy, that is always absolutely fine. And that's, part of why we come together is to discuss things, to learn from other people's perspectives. But again, I would make the distinction between what you enjoy is not necessarily the same as an evaluation of what is good. And some of the discourse around Rings of Power was not about whether people were enjoying it or not. It was going, no, this is categorically bad, and there was a lack of nuance in that discussion, and it was an interesting discussion. But Matt, congratulations again. Take care, my friend. I'll see you soon.
Thanks very much, AP.
Bye, AP.
Bye, AP.
All right.
Nice, I can stay
The
on for a while.
Brady Bunch.
People want to hang out.
So,
Square.
so apparently, like Jerome
some
said,
time.
it took 9 other people to get AP to say something. But what he said
I
was
want to play like
gold.
Hollywood Squares or something.
Yeah, ask us some stupid questions.
What if I can poke Andrew? Will it work? Hang on.
You know what, Theo? I would let you poke me.
How creepy would it be if a hand popped out? If your wife was like right there, just waiting. We should have planned this. That would have been
So Matt,
Yes.
Matt, have you told us? I
Little
mean, I'm
weird.
sorry if you've shared this before in previous videos, but what
What's that?
inspired you to start your channel?
Mostly Mike. Well, actually, a combination of
Who's Mike?
having.
Never heard of the
Mike's
guy.
book reviews,
Oh, that
I
guy.
assume.
You might have heard of him. He's got like 80K going on his Booktube.
He could switch his channel name to Mostly Mike. Be great.
No, it was a mixture of, I was between jobs and I had a big chunk of time. I had like 3 months or something, 4 months, where I already had a new job lined up and I was already out of the old job. And I live alone. I'm not married. I don't have kids. So I suddenly had lots of time and not that much to do. So I was reading a hell of a lot. And while that was all going on, I discovered, like most people, as the first, Daniel Green. And then I was like, okay, this kid is fun, but it's hard to relate. And then I ran into Mike and I was like, he's got a gray beard. Cool. There are people with gray beards on Booktube too. They're not all just kids with doing the memes and things. So yeah, I watched a lot of Mike's videos and went back through his back catalog, and I was like, I like his style. I like that he's just chatting. You know, it feels like you're sitting across from a friend and you're talking about a book or something. And I was like, I want to do that kind of thing. I have time. I know how to produce video because I've done it in the past. And that was basically it. Yeah.
Mm.
And now you're at 1,000.
Well, good
That's
decision.
amazing.
Yeah.
And now I'm at 1,000. It still seems
Make it
kind
look
of
easy.
It seems weird to me still, kind of. Like
I
starting-
remember getting 100 and I was like, really?
Same.
there are 100 people that want to listen
Really?
to me.
That's where
Yeah.
I'm at, actually. Yep.
Really?
I'm still shocked when people subscribe to me.
Won't last long. You're gonna grow really fast.
No, you're definitely going to grow, Dan. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I have
Dan, what's your channel
absolutely
name?
no doubt.
Black and blue collar reader.
It's fantastic, and his pug makes appearances. It's wonderful.
Yeah, he's. I'm shocked he's not making an appearance now, jumping on me, and yeah, Yeah, I got 2 dogs, Jackson Brown and Iggy Smalls.
Your
Oh
review
my
style,
God.
your
That's
review style
amazing.
reminds me a little tiny bit, Dan, of Mark from Slowly Read. There's just like a little bit.
I
of that.
loved. He was one of my favorite channels, and I
Yeah,
know I
he's
think he's
amazing.
writing a book or something, and that was kind of like that break there. He's a very you know, whatever grimdark is, he reviews grimdark, and those were the books I took my suggestions from Mark, and I just, you know, I had something to say. I wanted to talk to people about these books because I don't have friends that read a lot, and
Yeah.
my wife and my kids were tired of me babbling about this book, and I'm like, so what do you think about it? They're like, I don't freaking know. I didn't read this book. So I just finally was like, you know what? I'm just gonna put it out there. Maybe somebody will talk to me about this, and now I have that. You know, now I can
Nice.
discuss books, and
Yeah.
you know, I'm trying. Like I said it earlier. I'm a newer avid reader. You know, when I was young, you know, I listened to Led Zeppelin, so they got me into reading Lord of the Rings. But I was
That's so cool.
I was very, very young, and you know, my
That's
20s.
the right way to get into talking.
Yeah, my 20s and stuff, and you know, then the COVID hit, and I was just like, you know, and Game of Thrones ended, and I wanted something else, and I just started avidly reading, and like, yeah,
Similar
Awesome.
similar timeline, similar story. I love that.
That's sexy.
yeah. Like I don't
Yeah, I
feel
love
right
authors.
if Amazon isn't sending me a book. It's really bad.
Yeah.
It's
I
an
always say
addiction.
there's 2 kinds of days. There's the days you find an Amazon package at your door, and there are days that you don't. And
They're sad days.
Yeah. And
Or
how about
even
even
the-
isn't somewhere else.
isn't this kind of crazy? Okay, check this out. Hang on. Okay, isn't Dan like a fucking combination of me and Matt, pretty much?
like,
You got half grenade,
yeah,
half
no,
flash.
I totally see that. I totally see that. Sure.
Tic-tac-toe, yeah.
It
Uh-huh.
works, right? Yeah.
Tic-tac-toe, yeah. Diagonal, we win.
This is like when Theo and I
We just need
transform
a,
into
like
one
Madison and me are the
transform
2 women
together.
with glasses. We just need another.
You know what, Theo?
Yeah.
Actually, without your glasses, it kind of works between you and
If I
Josh and
put on a
Madison as well.
hoodie, well, if I put on a beanie, we could be in a line too. Like I'm the crossover between.
And then I see like Red Fairy Books and Tori with the red hair, and
Love it.
not
Yep.
quite making it across there either. But yeah, we
I
have a
look weird without my
tic-tac-toe with the
glasses.
beard.
Raph is also
Yeah.
reddish.
We got like 3
More
red
kind
Reds
of
in the corner there.
honey
I
blonde, I
like
guess.
this.
Yeah.
Well, you all, I have to go because I'm going to be in a Clash of Kings live show here in a minute. But I just wanted to stop by and just say, Matt, you're amazing. I felt like instant friends with you. Even before you started your channel, like you started commenting on Twitter, and I was like, I like this guy. I just get a really positive, authentic, genuine, fun vibe from him.
Yeah.
And your channel just didn't surprise me at all that I got the same vibe coming from you.
It
So, and
is
I know
the
I speak
same
for everybody here.
feeling.
I think
Agreed,
everybody
Joanna.
feels the same way about Matt. And just happy to be here with you all. It's all. This has been fun.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining.
Bye,
I'm
Joanna.
glad you could make it.
Bye, John.
Yeah.
Bye. See
Go
y'all
clash
later.
some kings.
I'll
Yeah.
go clash some kings.
Yeah,
Yes.
they deserve it.
Flash them kings together. Derry says, I love your face, Joanna.
It's a great face.
It's a great face.
She also, Andrew, she wants to see your book again. It's just so pretty. Yeah, those editions are gorgeous. I got a
Are those
box
the
set.
illustrated ones? Like the just the normal? Okay, so I'm loving A Song of Ice and Fire, and I was looking to buy those. Am I correct in saying that they only have up to that
Only
book?
up to this one.
So are they going to continue making them? Because I'm worried that they're going to change
Supposedly,
them or they're not.
Feast for
or-
Crows is dropping in like November.
Okay.
I was
supposedly.
thinking
These are
exactly
the
the same
UK
thing.
versions, though. So these
Oh,
are
it,
UK.
it does look a little bit different. That's why I didn't recognize it at first.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I will say, be careful when buying these because they are pretty.
I've heard you.
But
I've
the
heard you
quality
criticize.
is all over the place.
Yeah, like they get
Um,
progressively not as good. Am I?
Yeah. So the first ones got like illustrations all throughout. Like each
Yeah.
chapter starts with an illustration, and then they stopped doing that. In
And
Clash of
Patrick said the
Kings.
same thing, and I was like, oh no.
And then they put the illustrations in the wrong place.
Yeah.
So like
Oh.
you'll be looking at an illustration that's something that happened 7 chapters ago.
Oh no.
Which
for
is
no
not that
reason.
bad, but if you get an illustration of something that happens in 2 chapters,
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
a
not
spoiler.
egregious, but at the same, and then like they take the illustrations that were already in the book, and then they just throw them in the middle in color.
Okay. I mean,
So
it's
Which
nice
edition
to.
is that? Sorry, I don't have my computer in front of me, so your thumbnail is literally this big on my phone.
It's
Okay.
the Storm of
This is
Swords
the UK
illustrated.
illustrated edition.
I have these.
I think you got the
Joe,
American
welcome.
ones.
Joe is in the chat.
It's a
I'll be
similar
talking JP
situation.
yeah, that's
I like
the
that
same
one.
book. This is the
It's a
same
similar
book you have.
situation with
This
illustration.
is just UK and that's American.
It's the same book, just with different cover. Yeah.
Well, I like
Yeah.
that cover better, of course, because the UK almost always comes out a little ahead.
Isn't that annoying?
Not always,
Yeah.
but almost always.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like,
pretty.
Damn, that's
It's
better.
pretty standard that the UK covers are just better, except with Sun Eater.
Yeah.
I have
Superior
actually
in the
been
US.
wanting to buy the entire set of Sun
Yeah.
Eater, and I can't get.
Mhm.
Of course, the first, like the hardcovers, forget it.
First two.
The only other option is the mass market paperback, which I
Yeah.
don't want. There's
I
no
bought it.
trades.
I'm waiting for a
And
box set at some
The
point.
UK
Yeah.
covers are just so boring. I just,
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's fine. Like they're not a disaster. Like they're not embarrassing or anything, but they're not
Yeah,
nearly
fuck off,
as
Wizards.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have them all too. I've been fortunate.
yeah,
I got
get
that.
fucked,
That is-
I
Andrew.
have the UK and the US Empire of Silence, and I compare them.
Everybody,
sometimes. I'm not
everybody
sure
say
which
it
one-
with me. Fuck you, Andrew.
Right.
Get fucked.
My Kingdom of Death is signed.
I said,
I love it.
my
It's
heart-
yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. I have just an eBay search so that
Yeah.
anytime someone posts one, and
I hope
I mean
you can hear
the
us, Andrew.
last couple, it's been like $185, $200 for just the first book. And
I paid
so I'm waiting
70
for
for
a
mine,
box
so I
set.
ponied up for it.
Yeah, it's
Luckily
Well-
for Howling Dark, I got that before it went out of print.
Theo
It's out
and
of
I
print?
have a mutual friend who
I was just gonna say Madison. Yeah, I was
we
just
have a
gonna
mutual
say.
friend who has made it like his side hobby to acquire copies of Empire of Silence, and then like
Which he
like a-
has
like a-
successfully.
an angel in the night. He just randomly mails them to people. He's mailed
He,
several of
he
them to
sent
Christopher
me mine.
wow.
He sent me mine.
He has sent Rockio several of them because Rockio can't get them either, and
Is
he
he,
likes to
is
have
he
them.
also a friend of mine?
Wow.
He could be, you know.
No, we're not sharing him. Don't you dare.
Hi, friend.
But he hasn't been able to find any in a long time. But I think it's
Yeah.
like 11 or 12 copies he has found and mailed to people.
Yeah.
He's like
Well,
a
it was only
bear.
initially
Yeah.
5,000 copies. And for the UK hardcovers, after the first book, they're only limited to 500 copy runs
Oh
on
wow.
hardcover.
Wow. Okay.
Matt, do you know if I can get those French editions of the Malazan books with those covers?
I have no idea. I've never really thought about it or looked into it because I don't read French.
Yeah,
But
but you,
the
you
covers-
showed it on
the
your
covers are
video.
hot.
The
Yeah, the
covers,
covers
were
are hot.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I got the the mass paperbacks and all, so I
What
want
I
some
really want,
aesthetic.
what I really want is the Subterranean Press editions.
They're all
But-
out.
They are currently
They-
reprinting.
Yeah,
Yeah, but they're not the first one at the moment, and whatever.
Yeah.
You could get some of them
It sold out
theoretically,
in like an hour.
but they sell out in an hour, and buying them used is like €2,500. It's like
Yeah.
insane. I've actually seen
Yeah.
them on eBay.
I mean, you don't
and,
need both
like,
of your
forget it.
kidneys.
That's true.
true.
That's true.
you're right.
I mean, I'm not young anymore. I could probably survive the rest of my life with only one. Yeah, that's true.
You sure?
I think that's
maybe.
a sound financial investment.
I mean, I definitely need my liver, but like
You
one
only need
kidney.
technically half of it. It'll grow
You
back.
guys can't do this.
true.
But Tori, did
It's
you
true.
know you could rent out your uterus for like 60 grand?
All right,
No,
this has
thank-
been fun. You guys.
Isn't,
Hey, I'm just saying.
isn't that like the
Surrogacy is a
oldest
real thing.
occupation in history?
Basically.
You can be a surrogate and make big
How else-
money. I'm just saying. There's a lot
Joe,
of things
you're
I like to buy.
uterus.
So how many times do you need to do that until you can afford like a subterranean press edition of like a bigger series?
Thankfully, I don't care for Malazan, so I have some wiggle room in my budget now.
I mean, if you did that once, you could almost get a full set of the subterranean
Ooh,
Book of
too
the Fallen.
bad. You guys are not equipped
almost.
with the plumbing.
Yeah, but I mean, we could work out a deal though, you know. Maybe.
No, I'm not doing that again.
Like you and Tori, then we could get
I'm
for
not doing
sure
that
one
again.
set.
Tori's already got 3.
Jerome says Raph does not have to deal with edition stress.
That's true.
That is totally true. The whole
Unless you look at like audiobooks with different narrators.
Yeah, but it's very different than book as an object.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's very, very easy. I probably save a lot of money that way.
You save a hell of a lot of money. You should see some of the deluxe editions I recently bought. Although none of them are subterranean press.
You should see my record collection.
Okay, there you go.
I just like waste the money on something else.
Yeah, true.
I've
I just
got some subterranean press, but they're cheaper
ordered
ones.
the Folio Society Book of the New Sun.
Nice.
That is my craziest edition by I think ever.
I have yet to buy a folio.
But
I don't
they
know which
they
book
look
I would do
like
that for.
art objects.
Yeah,
they
they're
are
amazing.
amazing.
It's like the entire thing in one
The
volume.
Dune is hot. Yeah,
Oh,
That's
Dune,
hot.
that one looks good.
yeah. Their
I
Dune
have
is
only a
pretty hot.
few. I
have
I
one.
only have one that like people would care about. I have a couple others that are just like classics and stuff out on my shelf. But I have Misery, Stephen King, and it's really, really, really nice.
Liam, the Folio Society one that I ordered is a 2-volume.
That's hot.
Nice.
Love it.
What?
So they're
what
basically
book is
doing
that?
the Shadow and Claw and Sword. and
Oh
Citadel
wow! Okay,
version.
Feist. Cool.
I almost bought Game of Thrones and I didn't because I know that I have to have all of them. And if he ever writes the rest, like, are they going to? Of course they're going to make them. Why wouldn't they? But I would just have to buy all of them because I'm a loser. So I'm a book collector like you guys. I have to.
When I was first starting to watch Booktube, I was going through people's sort of back catalog and looking at more and more and more videos and whatever. And I watched a video from Jimmy Nuts, who bought all of the folios at once.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, what do you do to earn money?
Yeah, that was a flex.
He does.
That
He
was
does.
flex.
He does.
That
web
was a
design for
really
UI.
like serious
He
flex.
does front end web design, I think.
He also
Okay.
has Arya's knife, which was gorgeous too.
I mean, to be
I
fair,
would
to
not
be
call that
fair, I
Arya's
had a
knife.
single
I have-
set-
Okay.
I think it's almost an insult to Arya calling it her knife.
It was Tyrion's at
Are
one
you talking
point,
about
right?
the
Well, it
cat's paw
was-
dagger?
Yes.
Yes,
Look
the
at that.
cat's
Thing.
paw
Is that the
dagger.
fake one? Or is
This
that
is made
real?
with foam.
I'm gonna buy that anyway. I don't care. That needs to be on my shelf.
It's,
I've got
no,
this
it is
one, but
really
it's
cool,
not
though.
famous.
Yeah.
It's not from any book.
It could be if you use it
Not
right.
yet.
If it didn't kill the Night King, I don't want it.
Yeah,
But it,
no, it's not Valyrian
essentially
Steel.
hasn't. It essentially hasn't. You know.
Yeah.
Just start hearing about a bunch
Any
of
weapon
random
can be
stabbings
famous.
in
It just
Germany.
depends on who you kill with it.
This is a 13th century soldier's dagger reproduction or
That's
replica
gangster.
or whatever. So
It's as old as you are. Holy shit.
almost. Yeah. Not quite. But yeah, I keep looking at. I love props, and I
Me
keep
too.
looking at
Yeah.
like the cat's paw dagger replica and the Anduril and Glamdring
cool.
replicas, Firefly pistol. Yeah, that's
Shiny.
totally
Cat's-
hot. I was
cat's paw.
also
Cat's Claw.
cat's paw.
Cat's Claw. All right. Not so
the
cool.
next time
Cat's Claw would be funny.
yeah, next time I like,
But
feel
that's
like
also foam, Andrew. Yeah, that's
Oh, that
Whoa.
doesn't sound.
That's
cool.
pretty cool.
Neat.
yeah. It's a cheesy gimmick replica.
Eh.
It's not like an
You like-
actual. You could stab someone with it replica.
Well, no. I'm more likely to brain somebody with it. The hilt is metal. I think the blade is plastic.
For me, killing potential is important. Just in
And the
case.
next
You
time
never know.
I'm
I got
in a
this.
position to drop a couple $100 on myself.
Sonic screwdriver.
I can't decide if I'm going to do a sword from Valerian Steel or if I'm going to go ahead and get all those Harper Voyager, Realm of the Elderlings books. I really want.
Well, you can probably kill someone with those books as well.
Yeah.
Just one at a time. Just aim. Just aim for the temple.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
I could
that's
totally
a
kill
weapon.
someone with this easily.
But those paperbacks, I
It'd be
think I have to have
difficult.
multiple hits.
They're paper, but it's solid.
Grab your copy of
A
Shogun.
paper,
and that's
a
all you
Yeah,
need.
this is
paperback
like-
novel.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Robin Hobb has
Oh, yeah.
potentially 1,000 cutting edges.
Yeah, this one could definitely
Oh yeah.
take
Yeah, I
someone.
Yeah.
I commented on Tori's video. Tori, when she put the book up of Shogun, it was like the size of her head. Yeah, look at that thing.
Tori's got a little tiny head though.
With a larger head, it would be way more expensive to afford all those beanies.
Right.
That's true. Custom beanies.
I'm happy to see everybody reading that now because I
I
read
just
it
finished it
years
yesterday.
ago and
I need to like seriously get moving now. I have this much to read left in March, so gotta get going
I have
on
to
that.
go to the
Andrew
gym
has
to get the
Mel's
lard
gun.
off my arms to lift that.
My other replicas that I'm proud of. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I just finished Shogun
Sports.
yesterday, and I loved
Okay.
it.
Yeah, you loved it. Eh?
awesome,
So good.
awesome.
Tori,
Yeah,
you
we-
can't
It was
see
one of my
this,
best books last year.
but you got me into.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm already
Never Die.
starting.
Oh,
I
wow.
Good
downloaded
book.
the sample and I was like, "Wow, this is pretty good. This is pretty
so
good." It's
good.
it hooked me in.
And honestly, like I know I said this in my Gush
I got
Fest
the
video,
second one.
Oh, nice.
queued up.
but
Those
like
gorgeous
Soon.
covers.
Soon.
The
too.
Yeah, they're
payoff
so hot, dude.
through
Yeah,
all
they're
they
three
so
are.
hot.
books, so good, so good.
Yeah, I need
Yeah,
to
I've-
read those too.
I've got a video
It was a
coming
fun
out
book.
which many of you are in, not all, but many of you are in,
Oh yeah.
where Tori recommends Never Die.
Awesome.
Cheater.
What a surprise you didn't know
Surprise!
that I don't.
Surprise!
It's
Kind of
not.
cheating, yeah.
It's not. It's a standalone.
No,
Kind of.
I cheated in mine too, so it's a fine.
Actually, all of you who gave me a
Comment.
video, none of you cheated as much as Evie.
Oh, I thought it was
Oh,
gonna
that
be
does not surprise
No.
me at all.
No, Evie. What did Evie do? Take a guess. What did Evie do?
She did
Spear
Realm of
cuts
the
through
Elderlings.
water.
Dragon's Apprentice.
No, Tori got it.
Spear
She
cuts
starts.
through water.
She starts with spear cut
Spear
through
cuts.
water,
Oh yeah.
and then she says, "But it's kind of over 500 pages, so I'm going to recommend something else."
Just kidding.
Because
Yeah.
I was asking for 400 pages or less.
The one
So-
I recommended is like 470, but it reads so quick that I think it's fine. It's fine. Pacing wise, you're going to feel like it's shorter. So it's fine. And
Also really cute was Madison, right at the beginning of her video, says, "Yeah, it's easy to do a really short video about this because you can't. There's so much stuff you could spoil. Guess whose video is the longest one I got?
it was like 2 minutes.
Surprise!
It was
No,
Surprise!
it was Madison's.
Love it.
Dan's was long, but Madison's beat it by a little bit. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, I had to hit him up
Totally
and say,
fine.
"Listen, mine's like 2 minutes. Do you mind?" He's like, "Just send it over. I'll cut you out if I have
honestly
to."
felt like after I recorded it, I was like, nailed it. And I thought it was like 45 seconds long. And I was like, oh shit.
It's so
It's like
hard.
2.5
It was so
minutes.
hard. I tried to do it under a minute, and I'm like, I'm trying. I even cheated and went in and sped up my, my speaking, but I didn't want people to think that I was over caffeinated or something. So I had to like only notch it up a little.
It worked out.
probably-
I stand by my video.
Yeah.
I stand by my recommendation.
I'd probably just like write it out and then learn it by heart and cut it down so it fits exactly. Although I have to do one of those things now, like 1 minute. I'm like, okay.
Oh, okay.
But
I was just like, just send it. He'll forgive me.
Jonathan says that YouTube gets touchy about weapons on live streams. So
They
I'll
also
just
get
go
touched
that
about
way.
Really?
swearing, but that hasn't stopped you.
This is
Don't stop me either.
I feel like we're too small fry to actually count
They
for
don't
anything
care.
here.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
they don't care unless someone actually notifies them.
That is entirely not true. They use an algorithm.
Yeah,
that's pretty
I did
For a
one
live
for an
stream.
interview that's
I
got
have
200
those
views on
too.
it, and it got restricted.
yeah.
Yeah, they may restrict it later, but they can't. The algorithm is not that fast to just like stop the live stream if
It's not
you
going to
want.
cut
no,
us off
not-
in the middle of
Not
streaming.
instantaneously, but
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe retroactive.
So I guess I better don't show any weapons at this point.
Derry
I mean, I
said she
guess
can't
it's a bit-
compete
a
with the prop
a bit too
flexing.
late.
Me
The
neither.
prop flexing.
Yeah, this is actually it's not actually really a replica of anything. Well, I mean, it is a replica of a historical pistol, but the reason I got it is I saw it and I thought that looks exactly what I imagine Roland Deschain's pistols looking
look
like
like.
in the Dark Tower.
Same.
Right. Except
Yeah.
I need to get sandalwood grips made.
Sandalwood grips. Yeah.
But yeah, that's
I don't
maybe
know.
a little.
Get like an old guitar. There's a lot of guitars that use sandalwood for like the body and stuff. Maybe you can just cut one up
You
and
could probably
post
just
yourself.
order sandalwood grips for that gun.
Probably.
Yeah, quite possibly.
I could
Yeah.
send you some sandalwood oil, and you could really rub it into the grain, and it would smell amazing. At least
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it wouldn't look like sandalwood after that, though.
we don't know. We haven't tried.
Yeah, that's true. We don't know.
It'll smell
mean-
like Matt's beard instead, probably.
That's what, like,
My
would you
beard does not
recognize
oil
sandalwood
well
if
at
you saw it?
Sandalwood. Sorry. It probably smells like what I just ate.
Smells like Guinness, probably, to be honest.
Well, I'm drinking wine tonight, so it probably
There you
tastes
go.
like it just smells like red wine.
I could go for some wine, but it's like 11 a.m. So
Yeah,
but
Well,
I'm an
really
adult,
wine.
so
It's
5
eight-
o'clock
What's wrong
somewhere,
about
right?
that?
It's 8 p.m. here right now. Actually, speaking of which, after an hour, I had decided I wanted to do at the hour. Let me see if share screen. Boom. Okay.
ooh,
Ooh,
We are
fun.
playing a game.
So, the background of this is I did a 1K announcement video, and I said to everybody in the video, if you would like, I want to do something to give a little back to my viewers, and I'm doing a giveaway for a 30 euro. Translate that into your own.
That's like 100 Canadian dollars. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's like 1,000 Canadian. I mean, who cares about Canadian dollars?
Fucking euros, hey, goddamn. Okay.
Yeah, so everybody who left a comment, or I said that what you had to do is leave a comment and tell me what you would buy with it. And a lot of people said, don't include me, that's fine. Or other people just said, congratulations, and I didn't enter them. So everybody who entered, who said, I want to be in it and I would buy this book or books, is on this wheel, including Madison Goodyear. I think
I
you're
don't
the
feel
only one
embarrassed now.
Sneaky,
if I went. You should
sneaky.
give it to
who's
somebody
actually
else.
here. And we're gonna spin.
I said I was going to buy a
No
fanny
whammies.
pack.
And that ground to a start like Matt getting out of bed in the morning.
So close to Madison Goodyear. So close to Madison
Whoa,
Goodyear.
that was close.
Amazing.
So I'm just going to
Who's
take a screenshot
Andrea
of this.
B?
Andrea B is a constant commenter. So that's cool.
Nice.
So I don't think she's in the chat at the moment, but congratulations, Andrea B. I will get in touch
Jonathan
with
says
you.
it's 100,000 shroot bucks, which is
Nice.
perfect. Yeah.
well played.
What are Shroot Bucks?
Oh, it's
The
from The Office.
Office.
Ah, okay. I haven't watched that in ages.
That was a good one.
That's funny.
Yay, Andrea.
Congrats, Andrea. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Like I said, I don't think she's here, but I'll get in touch with her.
Nice.
I don't
I'm
remember
gonna
what she
do a
said. She wanted to
giveaway.
read.
That's really fun.
It is fun.
You know what's weird? Like
Yeah.
I never
I'm due for a giveaway.
anything like this on my channel because I always feel like my channel isn't real. Like I feel like I do. Like I feel like my channel isn't real, and I just kind of like pretend like I do it.
Weirdly, I
then-
know exactly what you mean.
And so
do.
I'm always like, I should do something. Like I've never had a live stream ever. One
Wait,
time
what?
I
Did
did
you
have,
just click go live?
Wait, you've
I
never
know.
hosted a
Well,
live stream?
I mean, when I did that thing where I tried on glasses, I did that live.
Right.
But no, one time I had Andy, like AR with him, Andy and Scott on my channel, and we
that's right.
recorded it, and we recorded it ahead of time. But even that discussion went so terribly like I couldn't get anything to work on my end because I only work off of my phone and stuff. And so then like we were like struggling, and finally I was like, Andy, can you host this and then just email me the file? Like I had to make somebody else film my live discussion.
That's so funny.
He had to host it and send it to me. So I don't know. I just feel like I'm like really pretending here. So thanks for having me.
Of course.
JC and Byrne, we're going to talk about this in about 4 hours, okay?
Madison's channel is the realest. Joe in the chat.
I'm actually
Yeah,
interviewing him tonight at 6:30. So
I actually loved that part of Booktube more than anything else. Like things like this, like people chatting about stuff they are passionate about was always so fun to watch. So I immediately, right at the beginning, I was like, I want to do author interviews, and I did one, and I felt weird and nervous the whole time. So I haven't done any since.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I can understand
Even though I
that.
really liked the author, Gareth Henrahan, and I liked his books, it still, I was like, I don't know, this feels weird. But then I started doing the Friends with Books or Friends on Books every month. And I was just like, the whole idea is these are people I don't know, and I want to make friends out of them. And then
you got mad at me and booted me off the stream for like 5 seconds for bad behavior.
That's true. You were being a dick. Actually, I don't remember. I have no idea what you said.
I was talking something about Realm of the Outerlings, probably.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean that for that
Sounds
you get your
suspicious.
camera turned off.
Andrew's mischievous reads.
No,
Exactly.
it's like the most fun thing. And, like it still feels really weird just sitting by yourself talking to a camera.
That's why I
Yeah,
started
sure
drinking. That's literally why I started doing the whole thing with the beer. Was like, hey, it helps
This
me
makes
do
it easier.
something. I don't feel it's my entire existence is drinking alone and talking
Yeah,
to
like
the
I don't know
wall.
about you guys, but I talk to myself all day, every day, so it's not weird at all.
I've
Raph,
heard
what
a
are
lot
you
of people.
drinking?
What?
What are you drinking?
What is that, Raph?
Keller
That
beer,
is Mönchhof Kellerbier. That's an unfiltered beer.
which is technically means basement beer.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Oatmeal.
So
Yeah,
so
actually,
the
it's funny.
yeah.
I had a role playing session earlier this afternoon, and we were drinking Keller
Ooh.
beer.
Oh, well.
Not that kind of role playing session, Theo. Gutter mind. D&D like, but it wasn't D&D.
Oh,
What,
I
did-
mean,
what,
Matt,
what,
in
what did
You
you play
dressed
there?
up as a ranger and had interesting times.
No,
So what
Adventures?
rules were you using though?
we were playing Vessen.
Oh, the Swedish one.
Yeah, it's basically you play Victorian era Swedish Ghostbusters.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah,
that sounds gangster. That sounds
I'll
awesome.
be right back.
Like what?
Yeah.
extremely cool game.
Yeah. I'm currently playing what's
Derry.
it?
Boom,
Dark Heresy,
Derry's
but not very good.
here.
Derry.
What's up, girl?
How you doing, Derry?
Darius just here to yell at me.
Good morning.
Yeah. Someone's got to keep him in line.
Almost the sun. It's very
So we're back to the Brady Bunch
Messy.
again.
Yay.
Everybody has to look up and down and left and right, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Dairy love in the chat. Yeah, no, it's an extremely cool game. I mean, it's totally different. Like the rules, the way dice
Yeah.
work, and all of that is very, very different from D&D. But it's actually, you can go back on my channel. The role-playing game is based on an art book that
I know.
a Swedish illustrator put out.
That's what that was?
Johan Egerkrantz. He put out a book called Vessen, which is it's basically like a fairy art book, like the traditional folk tales and fairy supernatural creature tales from Sweden. He did these beautiful illustrations, and he's also illustrated Lord of the Rings covers and all this sort of stuff. And I did a video about him because I collect fantasy sci-fi art books, and his art was the inspiration to make a role-playing game out of it.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember that video, and I asked you if it's the same guy who did the Tales from the Loop stuff, but apparently it's a different Swedish.
I have a video
artist.
coming out next week about the guy that did the Tales from the Loop stuff.
Oh, cool.
Simon Steenhag.
But it's apparently a very Swedish thing to have artists that create art books and then have a
create
Swedish
role-playing
company.
games.
Yeah, do they're doing it the other way around over there, I guess.
Okay. Derry apparently had some problems with her VPN. She will be back.
Is that where we all do like one of those NordVPN ads or something?
Exactly. My sponsors for today.
Yeah, who's sponsoring this live stream? Yeah.
Is the New Zealand branch of
You need to do like the really bad Australian accent so you can do like the Internet Historian NordVPN ad read that he usually does.
I don't know that.
It's a funny channel that does like, history stuff, and he has an Australian accent, and almost a New Zealand accent really. And he does like really over the top NordVPN ad reads that are ridiculous.
If you ever want to know if someone's Australian or from New Zealand, just ask them to say the number that comes after 5. Because if
one
they're
of those holy
Australian,
hand grenade things.
If they're Australian, they'll say 6, and if they're Kiwi, they'll say 6. No shit. We can try it with Derry in a minute. Although she probably has already heard this a million times from people.
There was I think it was a New Zealand ad for like dick sealant.
Oh yeah, I was just about to say that, and I was like, I don't know if anyone else has seen this.
Oh, it's old, but it's
so funny.
It's very good.
Everybody loves my dick.
Yeah. If you need to waterproof your dick.
Well, to be fair, this may come up more often than you think.
You don't want your dick getting worn out in the weather. Liam says,
"Oh no!
Today is the anniversary of Gary Gygax's death."
That is sad indeed.
I did not realize that.
I have played all editions of D&D. Now that I think back, I've played first like OD&D, and I've played some Advanced Dungeons and Dragons and some Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 2nd edition. I've played 3.0, 3.5.
I started
one
with
memorable day of 4th edition that went really bad, and then currently 5th edition.
Yeah, I started with first with AD&D back before there were editions.
Yeah,
back in the old days of the game.
When we still had THACO.
Yeah, well, it was all about THACO. THACO
exactly.
And I've got 5th on my shelf.
Yeah,
I've got a large role-playing game shelf, which is mostly not D&D.
I've once made a picture of once made a bookshelf picture, and my entire bookshelf that I own, because I do own a bookshelf, is all role-playing game books. All of them. I spent way too much money on Kickstarters for role-playing games and stuff like that.
Me too.
But do you own the first, like the D20 Game of Thrones role-playing game that Guardians of Order put out before they went bankrupt like a week after?
No, I don't.
I have the very limited edition with silver page corners and shit like that.
Wow.
No, was it limited edition because it was limited edition, or was it limited
Not
edition?
deliberately, but
no, it was a limited edition, and then there was the general edition.
The fancy Kickstarter edition.
No, it wasn't even, that was before Kickstarter. That was like in 2005 or whatever.
Wow.
That was really early on. And even back then, it cost like €100. And I was like, well, and then the store went bankrupt and had to close, and they like sold everything at half price. And now I do it.
Yeah, after they screwed up, somebody else bought the rights, and now I think Green Ronin is running.
Green Ronin is doing it now, yeah.
Yeah.
But that first book they did is gorgeous. It's huge, leather bound with like a silver cut direwolf's head on the cover and stuff like that. Under the dust jacket. It's really
nice.
Really beautiful.
Who has played a role-playing game?
I actually started D&D for the first time ever last year with some other booktubers, and we were meeting like once every couple of weeks, whatever.
I know Jordan was running it, right?
Yeah, it just kind of fizzled out. We started, it's hard
Okay.
to get 6 or 7 people together.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I wonder if we'll pick back up. That was my first entry into it. I always wanted to play it, but I never really knew
I
how.
play every week.
Do you
All right.
really?
I think I would like it. I just feel like I've never really had like a real opportunity.
Where do
to.
you,
Yeah,
Andrew?
I'm
where do
with
you find the time to do everything?
I make the time.
Like
a wizard.
do you sleep?
No,
I knew you were a robot. I knew you were just some sort of
I'm a robotic wizard.
machine. Yeah.
He's not a robot. He's a
this shit just
wizard. He
turns sci-fi.
literally makes time.
Yeah, makes sense.
He doesn't
Yeah.
find the time. He makes it.
That's true.
Mhm.
Can you make me an extra like 10 hours a day? Because that'd be fucking sick.
I think you can 2 or 3, really.
You know how it is. A wizard doesn't arrive early or late. He plays exactly when he wants to.
Nice.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Like you're kind of like we're all fantasy fans. Like when you're role playing or a fantasy game anyway, you're putting yourself in that story. You're being one of those people in the Motley Crew or the Quest Fellowship or the whatever, and making the story yourself.
Yeah.
I would really like to try playing with some people that actually know what they're doing, because the one time that I tried it was with a DM, and it was that was a friend of ours that like kind of sort of kind of knew what he was doing, and
You
I
need
was
to have
so
a good
confused.
DM, from what I understand. Like,
That's yeah.
the rest can be kind of whatever, but you need to have someone who can steer the ship.
Joanna also told me at one point, she was like, I don't like D&D. And I was like, well, why not? Whatever. And she described the only game she'd ever played. And I was like,
I wouldn't like it then either.
You had a shit
sounds terrible.
DM.
Yeah.
But that's the point. Like the DM skills are not so much like the game rules and stuff. It's very much people skills. Like very much how to keep
Can you
things
tell a
together.
story?
Yeah.
Like, can you tell a story, and can you facilitate anything with a group of people?
I think that's
I think
like
my
the main
brother
thing.
would be a really, really, really good DM, but none of us have ever played. But I think he could get very, very, very into it. So, and like he does voices, and he is a writer, and he's always played like big open world video games and stuff. So like I think he would be perfect. But
Buy him the DM's guide and the player's handbook for Christmas.
Good idea.
See how it goes.
we can
Get
play
the
on
special
Zoom.
edition one that's like leather bonded with silvered edges, so he feels guilty and has to actually read it.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Is this how Erickson came up with the world of
Yeah.
Malazan? That and once
Partially,
I heard
yeah.
that, I got like really interested, and
It wasn't D&D. It was
was
a
GURPS.
different system.
It was D&D originally.
And then they moved to
And-
GURPS
and then
because
they-
D&D was too restrictive.
Yeah, exactly.
GURPS.
GURPS is a different system, which is kind of more
Interesting.
open and flexible.
It's a very
But
universal
they
system.
started
and
with
has
D&D.
fantastic source books on all kinds of stuff, including an older source book on GURPS on Book of the New Sun.
I'm interested. What is the premise? Like, how do you play? And you're using your
it's really-
imagination to.
It's really simple. You have basically, not all role-playing games, but most role-playing games, you have one person who is running the game, and they have like the world in mind and sort of roughly what the story could be and where things could go. And they describe things to the players, and the players each only play one character in that world. So you might be playing the barbarian, and I would say, okay, you're in a clearing in a forest. It's snowing. There's like deep snow up to your knees on the ground. You've got your axe, and out of the trees on the other side of the clearing, a bunch of orcs run out from between the trees, and they're charging towards you. And then
Lay
you
down
say
the
what
knife.
you do. And that's basically the game.
You're basically telling a story together. And you have one person who tells the main story, and everyone else decides what to do with their characters. And in case you need to find out if what you want to do works, you, I don't know, roll a die or draw
Consult.
cards or do whatever else.
Yeah. So, what do the cards entail? What are on these cards? Do they give you like an extra weapon, or?
No, it's
It's
more
not
like to find
necessarily-
out what you do. Depends really on like what you want to do. You can flip a coin, basically. Like at the core, you can just flip a coin. It's like, I attack the orc, and then you flip a coin. It's like heads, orc, tails. you're a barbarian, you're fictitious barbarian, and if tails
It's
come up,
usually
you
it's
hit
usually a
the-
lot more nuanced than like a coin flip 50-50. But you've got a character sheet which says, as the barbarian, maybe you have a very high skill when using a battle axe.
Okay.
And then you roll dice, and the dice compared to your skill determine whether you hit the guy or you miss or whatever. Actually, I wanna have a really weird flex here for a minute, which only probably one person will understand. Liam said he played RuneQuest with DJ Butler a couple of weeks ago.
Nice.
Liam, the product line producer for RuneQuest, is my best friend. And he lives in Berlin here. And the game I played earlier this afternoon, he was the GM.
Nice.
So,
Awesome.
yeah.
So is he part of like the German RuneQuest Guild, or is he part of Chaosium now?
He works for Chaosium.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That is a very that is a cool flex, but I understand it too.
Yeah.
None of those words meant anything to me. I don't. Are we
But
still
I
speaking
think it's
English?
cool
Like
that
what?
you think it's cool.
RuneQuest is
very happy
RuneQuest,
for you.
RuneQuest is one of the earliest role-playing games after D&D.
Yeah.
And it's set in a totally
unique.
different world than D&D. D&D is very much kind of a typical sort of Tolkienian fantasy world, and RuneQuest is weird compared to D&D. The world it's in, like, I
It's more
remember the
Bronze
first
Age kind of thing.
it's kind of a Bronze Age thing, and the gods play a huge role, and magic is totally different than D&D. I remember the first time I ever played RuneQuest, we spent the first session fighting armored baboons, basically so that we could gather their armor and use it, because we didn't have any.
I think like it's important.
It can be a really weird game.
Yeah, like Greg Stafford, who wrote like the first setting for RuneQuest, Glorantha. He was both a shaman and an ethnologist, and there's a lot of ideas about like hero quests and more influence from like Native American ideas and stuff in there than D&D's very Eurocentric fantasy ideas. It's really cool, and I've spent way too much on their encyclopedia Kickstarter with like the very big books and cards.
The two
like
big,
maps.
the guide.
Yeah, that one. The Guide to Glorantha 2-volume plus Atlas and shit. Yeah, I have that.
I have that signed by Greg Stafford.
Nice.
Yeah.
That was a very slim margin before he died.
My other flex.
I don't have it
Derry
signed.
says, damn it, the teenagers are awake and streaming. The New Zealand
Teenagers
internet
are the
can't cope.
worst.
Yeah, fuck teenagers. So yeah, she's
Yeah, they are.
No, you don't. It's illegal.
Can I just
no, it's
say
true.
I'm just really happy you used the word flex correctly. I mean, I'm more impressed with that, than anything.
Yeah.
Good job.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah,
I'm
for an
actually
old
gonna-
guy.
I'm
Yeah,
actually
that's
going
what
to
I'm
pop
saying.
off for a little
Bye,
bit because
Tori.
I need to actually get some writing in today.
Write the
Yeah.
book. So
Yeah,
we can
do
all
that.
read
That's
it.
Your butt,
important.
sorry.
So
Someone
thank
has
you
to
so
write
much.
books so we can talk about them.
Exactly.
Right. Well,
So thank you for having me on, and congratulations on 1K.
thank you very much. I can't wait for Brew High.
Yes. I'll see you guys later.
See you,
Bye.
Tori. See you, Tori.
I'm actually hopping off as well because my kids are getting ready to get home.
All right.
Nice.
See you. Congrats on 1K, Matt.
Thanks very much, Andrew. See you later. Thanks for coming by.
Yeah, absolutely. See you later.
That's the other thing about RuneQuest is there is a race of sentient ducks. And Liam says, Butler kept trying to get me to play a duck. My first ever RuneQuest character was indeed a duck trickster priest.
The ducks are like the one thing everyone knows about RuneQuest. Isn't that the game with the ducks? Like,
That's
yeah,
the
it
game
is.
with ducks. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's bizarre.
Well, it is also like cube shaped, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I forget what that's called, but yeah, there's a weird, extremely giant cube out in the middle of the landscape. Josh, how are you doing? I realized you have said maybe 2 words the entire stream.
Hey, I'm joining. I'm kind of like AP. I don't like to talk over people, so it's hard to interject when we're all on.
So
different time
we're
zones.
all quiet. Tell us something, Josh.
Yeah.
What are you reading right now?
What
Put
am
some
I reading?
fury into
Actually-
your Red Fury books.
Yeah. Actually, I am reading what this guy picked for me last month. I'm finishing up Swan Song today. So
Yeah. Nice.
Theo picked that for my
Nice.
TBR last month. And,
Oh, that's right.
yeah, I'm going to finish
Is
that
it-
up tonight. It's fantastic.
Is it
Are you?
good?
So you're almost done. Are you enjoying it?
Oh, I'm loving it. It's
Yeah. Okay.
It reminded me. I was on a chat somewhere with Mike, and he said McCammon is the first person to give him Stephen King vibes, and I totally see it because it's just
Yeah. I was
his
hoping
drawing
that
and
that would
his,
work for you.
Yeah, the atmosphere is just painted so clearly, and love the characters. I love the story where it's going, and I'm just curious.
That
To
makes
see
me
what's
happy.
ahead. It's I have about 200 pages left, so
I'm gonna read Boy's Life this year. So maybe if
Okay.
you're keen to continue, maybe we'll read that together. at some
yeah,
point.
that'd be great because I'm loving McCammon. It's been a good ride, so yeah, I appreciate the pick.
Alright.
I've avoided Robert McCammon exactly for the same reasons, because if Mike says it gives him
Yeah.
Stephen King vibes, and everyone suddenly loves Robert McCammon, I'm here like, I don't think I like this. I'm almost certain I'll hate it, which may
It's
be
so funny
which may be
how
wrong,
we
but
can be
I'm
different,
a very
yeah.
contrary person. It's like,
Raph is religiously contrary.
but that's true.
Yeah.
I'm Catholic.
I would say he leans more into the horror aspects of that type of setting, whereas I feel like Stephen King's can sometimes
Yeah.
be, it's either like in your face and kind of teasy and we like it, or it's like so like subtle that you have to kind of like look for it and
Right.
just be like, well, I'm creeped out by that because that's, it's creepy. But like in Swan Song, it's a lot more, I got horror vibes a lot heavier.
Yeah,
in
it was
Swan
darker.
Song. It was
Definitely a lot
darker.
more overt. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the problem for me, especially with King, and I assume also with McCammon, but very much with King, is outside of Dark Tower, or at least outside The Gunslinger, which I really love. It's like the one book where I feel King actually does something interesting. He's too American for me. I'm not an American. I don't get the wasn't the US in the 1950s really nostalgic kind of vibes he puts out so much. And
I
like,
can understand.
I
I can
don't-
appreciate
I don't
that too.
care.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
It's not my politics. It's not my country. I'm not that old. I don't care.
If you're not American, Stephen King, you're like at least 20% of Stephen King is just not gonna jive
exactly.
with you the same way.
Yeah.
That's probably super fair. I never really thought of it that way. And it's funny
Yeah.
because I clearly did not grow up in the 1950s, the 1960s, but for some reason it still makes me feel like super nostalgic. But maybe it is kind of like a patriotism thing, like low key under the surface that I didn't realize was there.
It's
because
definitely
I do love that setting of not just with Stephen King, like any book that you're like, hey, this is about a group of kids who are rough around the edges but lovable, and they grew up in the 1950s and they've got one bike between the five of them. I'm like, yeah, like.
It's definitely a good point. When I did a top 10 Stephen King, I ranked my top 10 books of his, and my favorite was 11/22/63.
I hated that one.
I had a viewer from Sweden say that they just didn't connect with it.
Yeah.
But in the U.S., the Kennedy assassination is one of the most.
Joanna was worried I
moments
wouldn't
of
connect
our
with
entire,
because I'm Canadian, and so she was like, I wonder if you're gonna care as much.
But Canadians
And
don't
I
have their
did.
own culture, do they?
No.
They
No,
just borrow
it's a blend,
it's
and
close
sometimes we
enough that,
borrow
like,
from
you
you
can-
guys. Yeah, exactly.
The best
When
of
it suits us, we're
everything.
more American, and when it doesn't, we're like, no.
Yeah, I know. I mean, a lot of Americans I know, it's kind of inconceivable to them that the majority of the world doesn't give a shit about the Kennedy assassination.
Yeah.
But that is pretty much true. I mean, everyone's aware of it, but it's like
We're very ignorant people for sure.
I mean, Europeans were assassinating people well before America existed. So,
right.
It's
Well,
like,
you guys
American
are
got
the reason
assassinated
we
too.
exist.
Okay, I have to barge in here, Matt. I just saw you mention Skyrealms of Jarun. I have a still sealed box set of that original one.
Oh shit!
And we had this magical game store that apparently, for some reason, didn't need to make money ever since like the mid '90s. I guess they had like all this stuff still with like DM, like Deutschmark prices on it and shit like that. And when they closed down, finally, they just sold shit dirt cheap. And I bought that for like, I don't know, $10 or something. And it's still like a sealed box set of Skyrealms of Jarun.
Let me explain a little of Skyrealms of Jarun to other people who don't know anything about role-playing games. It was a role-playing game that came out in the 80s, I think. And
mid 80s,
yeah. And it was illustrated by a guy who went on to become one of the most successful storyboard and concept artists for Hollywood. He's still working in Hollywood, Miles Teves. And when I saw the illustrations, this is sort of a theme, like well-illustrated role-playing games are things I buy because of the illustrations. I saw the illustrations and I was like, oh, I've got to have that. These are amazing. They're all pencil drawings, amazing drawings. And then I started reading about the world and I was like, oh shit, this is weird. This is really, it's like humanity has settled on another planet. It's basically a science fiction novel, but it's basically a fantasy novel game. Humanity has settled on another planet, but
Is it called New Caprica?
No. It's nothing like Battlestar Galactica, and it's like hundreds of years ago they settled there, and they've pretty much lost their technology, and their society is sort of medieval. But on the planet itself, there are 9 sentient races or species of creatures, and the humans create through genetic engineering 3 or 4 more, which are based on Earth animals, and it's just nuts. It's nuts. And it died out. It just never went anywhere. And
Jeroen is really good there. Skyrims of Jeroen. That's the best dumb Dutch joke I've heard today.
Skyrims of Jeroen. Yeah. Okay.
Well, it's as far as I can copy Dutch pronunciation. You really pronounce his name Jeroen, doesn't it?
Jeroen. Okay. See you, Derry. Sorry you couldn't join. Sorry your internet is not really on it.
Sorry you have teenagers.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry New Zealand has teenagers.
They're a bane to existence.
Yeah. And thank you, Alex. I don't know if Alex is still here, but he said he just wanted to say congrats.
I'm gonna have to hop off soon too. My children are getting hungry, which normally is like not my problem because they are like super good at like being independent, but they want something specific that requires multiple heat sources. So I think I'm gonna have they can do one heat source at a time, but we're not doing broiler, skillet, and air fryer at the same time. But these sandwiches are gonna be bomb. So
that sounds
can
pretty
you do
good.
Can you do all of those in just the cracks of doom on a volcano?
Yes.
Sure.
While Gollum is biting your finger off.
For this sandwich, yes.
Yeah, wow.
So
you're a committed mother.
Thank you for having me, and thanks for always hanging out with me. I've been on several live streams and chats with you, and they're always just a blast. So
and we're gonna have another one
because I'm not even a real booktuber, so like I'm just relying on you guys. So thank you
how are you not a real booktuber?
I don't know. Isn't it
you're doing fucking videos regularly, so why would you not be a booktuber?
Come on, let's be honest, semi-regularly.
Well, yeah, pretty regularly. Anyway, I like your videos. I should
probably record today anyway. So anyway, thanks for having me. Congratulations, and I'll talk to all you guys later.
Bye, Matt.
Later. Bye, Matt.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I think I'm gonna have to jump off too. I gotta, feed and water my kids as well. And hey, I really appreciate that you invite me on and doing this with you. And congratulations, man. It's well deserved.
Thanks, Dan.
Hey, thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Nice to see you, man.
So I guess you're the next for like 1,000 subscribers thing, right?
Hey, hey, from your mouth to God's ears, maybe. Don't matter to me. I just want to talk about books. You guys have a good one, all right?
Yeah. All right, see you around.
See you, Dan.
Bye.
Wow.
And then there were 4.
I'm a little surprised in a way. I invited a whole bunch of people and it was just random. I was just like, I don't know if anyone will turn up. We'll see.
Wait, didn't you offer people money to join? Are people not getting paid? Am I here for free?
Just you.
Yeah, if you need to go,
I misunderstood this whole
that's okay.
thing.
Yeah.
See, that was so funny. Like, I always joke about like my more like leftist leanings and stuff, but like 3 weeks ago, I was at a conference, like a student conference. It was hosted in Vienna at the Central European University, which is funded by George Soros. And I have like all my leftist Antifa video YouTuber credibility up there now, because I actually got, paid with like a notebook and a pen with George Soros's university logo on it.
Wow.
Yep.
You infiltrated the enemy.
I don't know. I talked about anti-Semitism in fantasy in his university. I feel like I did a good job there.
Okay.
It was a lot of fun in general. We talked about racial representation in Barbie dolls, which is something I knew nothing about, but now I know a lot more, and it was really fascinating.
Wow.
Yours is a channel I like watching, because you pretty much all of the thoughts you have about books, I never have. Like I just don't think at all the way you think, and it broadens my thinking, because I listen to you talk about Hyperion or something, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? And then I'm like, well, yeah, okay. No, I mean, he's got some points which are interesting, actually, and allow me to, or not inspire me, not allow, inspire me to go off in other thinking tangents than I normally would.
I feel that's like probably like the effect of studying philosophy at university, because that's exactly like philosophy courses at university are not about figuring out your personal philosophy or anything of the sorts, but what you do is you read an excessive amount of text, and all you do is like nitpicking these texts to find out why they're wrong. That's like all you do. And once you start that, it's very difficult to stop that.
I personally, I imagine for me, that would suck all of the blood and joy out of reading fiction.
Yeah.
If I was like unable to turn that off.
Yeah.
But
that's me listening to music. Yeah.
I can imagine about this. I was talking about this yesterday on my live stream with Colin, and it came up in the context of people who have studied the sciences and stuff, and to what extent they can turn that side of their brain off and enjoy kind of a soft sci-fi or even a hard sci-fi if it's maybe not on the nose accurate with the science. Can they still enjoy stuff? Because we go to fiction for escapism, and so I wonder how those things mesh with people, like Josh with music. That must be difficult.
I used to have exactly the same problem, because I worked in special effects. I did special effects for television and movies for a while, and like every time I went to a movie, I was like,
when you watch it, you're like, I know how they did that, or like that looked like shit. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
right?
and
can you turn that off?
The wonder of it. Yeah, I have now, because it's been a long time since I worked on special effects, and things have moved on. So I don't get it anymore.
Ignorance is bliss. Yeah, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it used to be I would be nudging my friends and go, hey, I could do that, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I can understand that. Absolutely.
It's not fun.
Yeah. I feel like I know it doesn't come across in my videos because I focus so much on like the criticism, but like I still enjoy books. it's not like I hate.
Just want to make that clear.
I feel like it sometimes comes across like that, and what I can do, and what I definitely do, is like I focus on basic. I appreciate the craft. It's like I may disagree with your ideas and all of that stuff, but I can sit back like, wow, this was a scene extremely well done. Even with something like Wheel of Time, where I'm like, had a lot of issues, to put it mildly, I can still go like, yeah, this part is just incredibly good. There's a scene like, I don't spoil too much. There's a scene in a later book that is sort of like a ghost town kind of situation where like people's, see dead people, and that whole like idea of claustrophobia and fear. Robert Jordan is brilliant with that. And I can sit back and say, yeah, I enjoyed this. This was fantastic. And I feel that's the way to go with that. It's like to appreciate the craft. Like this was fantastically done.
Jerome,
and I still enjoy it.
Jerome says he has a PhD in biology. Science fiction can be full of shitty evolution and ecology, but I don't let it bother me. That's the right attitude to have.
Yeah,
it very much is that.
It's tough to turn it off, though. I know, like, as a musician, a lot of times if I go somewhere where there's live music, just like a bar or something like that, most of the time I can't handle it because my analytical side just kicks in and like, these guys suck. Why are they getting paid to be here?
That's so
You know?
interesting. That's so
Yeah, do you
interesting.
have like pitch perfect hearing? Because I know people who have that, and that they get really bothered by a lot of live, because live performances often are,
A little
slightly
off.
off and shit like that. Most people don't know that's notice.
No,
Yeah.
it's just more training and just.
Mhm.
I mean, what I do is I take a group and get them better. So when I hear groups that are not ready to play in public,
it happens to me on a much smaller scale because I studied finance and economics and business and whatever. And you go to a coffee shop and you hear somebody talking about economics and the economy and the government and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, oh my God, you guys don't know the first thing about how money works in the system. So it's like people can relate that to any aspect probably, right? Like you just know what you know and you don't what you don't. And yeah.
Yeah, I feel that's like part of the problems. Like when you realize that people that are talking about something know less about that thing than you do, and they are wrong, and they have an audience that actually believes them. That's very hard to take. It's like, for you, like people talking about economy and you stand next to them, they're like, no, that's wrong.
Or they're talking about like inflation and interest rates. I'm like, oh yeah, like this is gonna happen. I'm like, holy fuck, like no, it's not. Like no. Actually, I was watching Mike's, not to hijack this, Matt, but I was watching Mike's live stream with Murphy. He had Murphy on yesterday, and the topic sort of came up about having a platform and how sometimes you can get negative comments for someone maybe of their caliber with such a large following if you didn't like a book. Like you're one opinion of many, and maybe the majority likes it, but sometimes it's hard to watch. And this is why she was explaining why maybe some booktubers might get negative comments or snarky comments, because someone out there is watching you and they might enjoy something, and a lot of other people might as well. But you, with the following, didn't, and it feels like the balance is out of whack. You with this huge following don't like it, but all of us do, and we're frustrated that's the opinion that's getting out. And so yeah, that was a very interesting topic. I can see how that must feel on the other side. I feel that sometimes too.
It's one of the reasons I don't want to have more than 1,000 followers.
Yeah, right. Like it's kind of like, yeah,
I've noticed
it's a certain kind of pressure.
You'll notice it too. I've noticed as my channel grows, like not every video gets 100% likes anymore.
Yep. Right.
I've got a few. For a long time, it was like always 100%, and everyone was encouraging and whatever. And
I'm that one dislike, just so you know. I'm the one.
Yeah,
because I don't want everyone to have 100%.
I figured it was you. I've got like, you don't see how many, but you see a percentage, and I think the worst I've got so far is 96%.
Right.
Like to dislike.
It's pretty good.
But I've been holding back from like talking about Wheel of Time, for example.
Because of the fandom potentially, or?
Well, but because in general, I sort of made a decision. It's not so much fear of the fandom or anything. It's more that there are a lot of people that spend a lot of time on Booktube or YouTube in general talking about stuff they hate. And I've done that in the past, not on YouTube, but in conversations. And it has a negative effect on me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Thank you for saying that.
Spending a lot of time talking about shit you hate is bad for you.
Yeah.
Speaking of things I hate.
There's a good segue. I love it.
Herr Professor Dr. Fantasy is here.
With impeccable timing as usual.
Perfect timing.
What's up?
It's like someone summoned you.
I run to the fridge to get another beer. I come back and
here I am.
The people with degrees show up.
Raph summoned me by getting beer.
So this is officially, suddenly, unexpectedly, right now, become the Way of Idan hype stream.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Not?
You would be. It would.
I've heard it's
make
good.
your head explode to see how many people. Like what I did for this 1K thing is I did a giveaway, and I said, okay, you can have a €30 Amazon gift certificate. I'm going to randomly choose a person, but to enter, you have to tell me what you're going to buy.
Yeah.
And about a third of all of the people said Way of Idan.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wow.
Well, I mean, You have 20,000 potential buyers, Philip.
Yeah, I've already told him this. He doesn't get it.
Yeah.
That's more than we just heard that like the hardcover print run for like Sunator is like 500 in the UK.
Yeah.
Oh, that well, I'm sure he sold a lot of other.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
Chadia wants your book.
Yeah.
Wow.
Liam's
Well,
ready to throw money at you.
Oh,
I actually have a question, and Philip, you don't have to answer if you can't or if you'd rather not. But obviously, it's
Why
gonna be
didn't you
coming
send
out-
me an ARC? That's
No,
what
no,
he
no.
wants to ask.
Because I don't have time to read stuff. That's why would he choose me? But he needs people to review them. For people that are looking to buy it, they're going to be able to buy it a few different ways, and you've explained, and you can go to Philip's channel and stuff to figure out how to do that. But for people that want to maybe get something directly from you, is there a way to directly support you more? If somebody wanted a signed copy that's going to be worth millions of dollars in the future, how do we do that? Can we do that? Are you going to be tackling that later?
I haven't figured that out. It's a great question. I need.
What's the best way to support you at the outset? Let's do that.
Oh, just to
buy books.
Just buy it.
Yeah, I
However
mean,
you can.
I'm grateful for if anyone's interested in the story. I'm at this point, it makes me happy that somebody would want to engage with the story, and I hope that I'm offering something beautiful. I'm hoping I'm offering a compelling experience for anybody who buys it, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. I mean, that's just thank you.
Yeah. I guess what we need to do is to write angry emails to Subterranean Press and ask them why they haven't started. Like,
why have you not?
Why haven't you got Wave done yet?
Where
and that's how you
There
get
it
your
is.
signed copy.
Damn right.
Yeah. But thank you guys. Yeah, thank you
Yeah,
so
we're all
much.
excited. Yeah.
But we are here to celebrate, of course, Matt's reaching this milestone, which I think is going to be the first of many. And I want to congratulate you, Matt, and say how grateful I am for all of our interactions, because you've been a really wonderful person to get to know here on this platform. And I'm very grateful for that. So glad you're here, buddy.
Yeah.
You're here.
Right back at you, man.
You're here. Yep.
I've super enjoyed it. I said to AP was here briefly, or not briefly. He was here actually for a long time, but he just didn't say anything, which felt like it was briefly with AP.
Philip didn't.
He was
come.
just
He was
hovering
"Why
in the
am I here?" So he
background.
left.
We had
Yeah.
10 people on at the same time. That's why.
Yeah, early on in the first hour, we had 10 people at the same time. It was kind of
And I wasn't here to harass AP. That makes me sad.
I think actually he heard you coming and he left.
Well, that's why he left. Oh.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. It would have actually been really cool if he had just left like 2 minutes ago, but it was more like a half an hour
And
ago.
you can just see his image slowly fading in the
exactly.
you
And
show
then,
up.
boom, Philip.
Bam.
Yeah. No,
Oh, fun.
it's been absolutely like AP. I think was the first person that ever had me on a live chat, which was very, very cool.
Yeah, because your job fucked up and you didn't show up.
Me?
When we were supposed to meet up and you couldn't because your job.
Oh yeah,
changed.
yeah, exactly. Raph and I were gonna film ourselves.
Raph was gonna be your first.
Sitting in a park, filmed with a camera. The two of us drinking with a phone. The two of us drinking beer or something at night in the dark. Because I actually totally coincidentally, when my channel just started, I had seen Raph's channel and we had interacted a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I wrote him and I was like, dude, for work, I have to go to Marburg. Where do you live? And he was like, Marburg. I was like, so that's what I thought. So let's get together,
Yeah.
And then at the last minute, my client canceled the thing I was meant to be doing in Marburg. So I didn't go down there. And it's not exactly like, it's like 5 hours, 6 hours on a train. So
yeah, 5 hours, I guess.
It's not like a drop by quickly kind of thing. Germany's smaller than America and Australia, but it's still big.
Because you're in Berlin, is that where you are?
I'm in Berlin, yeah. So
Yeah.
it takes a little while to get down there. But yeah, AP was the first, and you were one of the first that included me in things like that as well with Dear Dr. Fantasy and whatever, and I super appreciate it. It's always been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, the honor is all ours, I'm sure. And I wanted to mention too that there's a town in New Hampshire where my uncle used to live. It looks like Berlin, but in our neck of the woods, they pronounce it Berlin.
Berlin.
So sorry to inflict that on you German speakers. Berlin.
I've heard a lot of people call it Berlin. So
oh, really? Okay. Yeah. Maybe they're all in New Hampshire. I don't know.
You know what's worse? You know what's worse? I lived in Kentucky, and there's a city spelled like Versailles that they call Versailles.
No.
Versailles. That's how the American model of capitalism even invades the language. It's Versailles.
There you go.
Sorry, I have this quota of like dumb leftist takes I have to
exactly. You have to bring in the postmodernist communist analysis every now and then.
It's George Soros's demand for that pen he gave me.
Otherwise, we wouldn't know who you were. Chadia is super excited. I really think you're going to be a little shocked.
Yeah, me too,
Philip, by the first week's performance of your book.
He's really lucky that like the audiobook will come later. So
yeah.
my being angry video will not be out until like July.
Exactly. Raph won't diss your book until later.
That's so funny. Well, Raph is actually, and I told Raph this in a comment once, but one reason I really wanted to pursue the audiobook was I know that audiobooks are something that are important for a lot of readers, for a lot of people, in order to have certain books accessible to them. And Raph obviously does read mostly on audiobook. So
when he's not laboriously scanning Viking books because they don't exist in ebook form before.
Yeah. So but Raph, you are a big reason why I thought I want to have an audiobook. I do
really appreciate that. It's fantastic. I love it. Joe Byrne did the same thing with Wistful Ascending, the first one. He did the same thing, and I was like, "Wow!" I'm not expecting people to go out of their way to
just for
give me access to their books.
Yeah, well,
but I do very much appreciate it.
Not that you represent anybody but yourself, but it was a sort of a sad idea to me that someone like you, and that you specifically wouldn't have been able to read the story without that sort of thing. So
you're one of the big reasons, Raph, why I even started listening to audiobooks.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was fascinating. Like I saw you, and just from seeing you on your videos, I was like, okay, I don't know, but I think he's blind.
Yeah.
And then I saw one of your later videos, and you mentioned, I'm blind and audiobooks and whatever. Yeah. And it made me think. I was like, I bet audiobooks are really interesting. I tried an audiobook 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and it just, for whatever reason, just didn't click with me at the time. And recently, the War for the Rose Throne series by Peter McLean.
Yeah,
I got the audiobook of the first one after watching you and thinking about audiobooks. I got it, and I was like, "Wow, this is actually really good." The guy's voice was great. The narration, just the way he did it, was really, really good.
To be fair, audiobooks have gotten way better over the last decade or 20 years or so, like 15 years. They have gotten way better because they've become like more popular. They're way more about a performance. Like back in the day, I remember. So I read Game of Thrones before it was cool. In 2005, I guess.
You hipster.
Yeah. So it was really fun. I had a friend, like we bonded over heavy metal from like a philosophy seminar course that we were both in, and then he came back after like winter holiday break, and he's just walking out of his lecture, and I just passed by to my math lecture, and he's like, "Oh, wait! My cousin from the US was here. He just gave me this book, and you need to read this book." And it was like the Game of Thrones paperback from way back then, and he's like, "This is so fucking awesome."
It's a heavy metal book.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, we also bonded about like fantasy and role-playing games and philosophy, all kinds of other stuff. Fantastic, it just worked. And he's like, "You need to read this," and he starts reading me some passages, like in the hallway at university. He reads me passages from Game of Thrones. I'm like, "Yeah, I need this." And I was like, "How do you get these audiobooks?" Back in then, and they were done by Books on Tape, I guess, was the company back then, or Recorded Books, one of those. Yeah. And
Books on tape was one. Yeah, I remember them.
Yeah, and they were still like, they were not yet, like Audible didn't really exist. So you couldn't like get them digitally.
Yep.
And I had at the time, I knew someone who was going to the US at the time, and he bought them in CDs. Like they're like 30 something CDs in like these huge plastic boxes. And he then brought them back from the US from his trip to, so I could listen to the first 3 were out, it was before Feast for Crows came out. That's how I started reading Game of Thrones back then, on these like huge, like 30 CDs boxes. I'm like, wow.
Digital has made so many things so much easier.
It has, but they still restrict shit, and you can't get like certain books because they're only for people in the US. I'm like,
well, and I mean, also just like some authors, unlike Herr Professor Dr. Fantasy, don't maybe prioritize getting their audiobooks out, or they like. I finished the 3rd book of The War of the Rose Throne, and it's a quartet. I finished the 3rd book today, and I was immediately like, whoa, big epic ending, cliffhanger. And I went on Audible, and I was like, give me the 4th. Oh, doesn't
Not
exist.
there. It's actually not the author's fault. It's usually
no, it's the deal.
It's
their deal.
It's the publisher who decides
that
if it's a traditionally published. That's, by the way, huge advantage of self-publishing. I get to decide if I want an audiobook or not. You know?
Absolutely.
Invest in
but why is it that some of them aren't available in certain areas or markets? I'm always shocked when I can't get something in Canada.
Licensing
like, what?
Things.
How?
Yeah, because you have like different publishers for like the print for
it
like
needs to be
European
distributed
deal
through different
and
channels for different
one of them does the audiobook license, but only that one. So it's like you can only technically get like, for like example, if one does like goes on Orbit in the UK and Tor in the US or whatever, and only Tor does the audiobook deal, and people in the UK are technically not allowed to buy that audio. And that's like the disadvantage of like digital, right? Because like you can import physical items, but you can't import like digital things. That's sort of like you could technically go to the US and buy the book and then travel back.
It's a distribution. It's a distribution contract, and if the contract's not in place, they're not allowed to. I mean,
it's so frustrating.
The problem I constantly have, which drives me fucking nuts, because I'm an English native speaker, but I live in Germany, and I speak German, but I don't like reading a book in German. I don't like watching a movie in German if it's not originally German. Right. And I'm a huge Western fan. Old Westerns, especially Clint Eastwood Westerns, they're my jam, right? So Pale Rider, Two Mules to Sister Sarah, High Plains Drifter, all of those. And they are not available in Germany without a German synchronization.
Oh.
And I'm like, the last thing, I would rather spoon my own eyeballs out than listen to Clint Eastwood speaking theoretically German, right? So I can't watch my favorite movies that I would like. They're comfort movies for me. Like when I'm sick, I'm like, oh, let's just put on Pale Rider or High Plains Drifter, and you know, great movies. And I can't get them in English.
German Clint Eastwood comes around the corner and it's like,
I look
everywhere. On talk.
Yeah, exactly. I just can't do it. So yeah, there are all these licensing distribution agreements that keep certain things from being unavailable in certain places. You know?
The last thing that I couldn't get was the novella, the Hob novella, the Piebald Prince. I couldn't get it in Canada.
Oh, wow.
I cannot find it to buy, download, nothing. Yeah.
Wasn't it like available, not as audio, but like, isn't it available in print in like a collection of her short stories or something?
I think I can get it in a print, but then I'm like, well, it was a little expensive in Canada for what it is, right? And so I thought, well, do I add it to my collection or do I not?
Yeah.
I don't know.
People living in America,
I couldn't get it. Frustrating.
People living in America don't realize how lucky they are. There are so many things that you know.
Unless you want to listen to the culture audiobooks, the Ian M. Banks culture audiobooks, for some reason, several of those are not available in the US.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. It's super weird because they were available in the US and then they were not, and now they're in. It kind of switches because sometimes licenses run out and someone forgets to renew them because who cares if 3 sales go away or whatever.
Paramita says she keeps falling asleep or failing at audiobooks by falling asleep. I have my experience with audiobooks is I started listening to them for my commute
Yeah.
Because
same.
like in Berlin, I have 45 minutes to get to work.
Yeah, same.
And what I often did is I would listen on the way to work, and then of course stop when I get to work. And I'd listen on the way home. And if it was interesting and I was engaged, and since I'm listening to Peter McLean and his stuff's pretty cool, I'm engaged. And then I sit down at home and keep listening and fall asleep immediately.
Yeah.
And like miss 3 chapters.
I usually do stuff while listening to audiobooks, like, chores, washing dishes, hanging up my laundry. I listen to fiction while I'm at the gym. It's like doing some like physical activity that doesn't force you to think, where would your thoughts would be like freewheeling, basically freewheeling. That's where it's really easy to concentrate on audio in a way.
Yeah,
that's why I did like a lot of knitting when I started the channel. I listened to Malazan all day and knitted hats and scarves and capes and stuff. And again, I don't need to concentrate on the knitting. I can just like do this and listen.
The Rogue says that they listen to the most of Book of the New Sun on audio. I think you're nuts.
I couldn't do it.
Actually, the narration.
Philip and I are buddy reading this together right now.
Yeah.
Moving on to the second book, and there is so much bizarre vocabulary in those books.
It's not that bizarre.
I can't imagine it.
I love it. And the audiobook, the one that Jonathan Davis narrates, it is really good. I feel like
it's not the narration though. I'm not saying that the narration is either good or bad. I have no idea. But like there is so much totally weird shit going on.
It's
in those
just
books.
too like abstract to be able to like.
And there's also
picture,
like
right?
this vocabulary. I know that Gene Wolfe didn't invent new words, but they're all words I don't know. They're all words I don't know.
There's a bunch of really interesting ones, like when he calls like mariners Matros from like the German Matrose.
Yeah,
and stuff like that. And it's. I don't know. I love
that I got because I speak German, but
yeah,
there's a lot of Latin in there,
I don't speak that language.
Yeah,
I love Book of the New Sun. I've read it like 5 times now. I still find new things in it. It's insane.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like this is like I unlocked an achievement recently because Philip Chase told me that I helped him understand a book because I'm reading it for the 3rd time and he's reading it for the 1st time. So
that
I was
that
like,
one's
okay,
that I want to follow
1,000
along
subs,
with you guys.
and Herr Professor Dr. Fantasy said I helped him understand a book.
That's
right.
good.
Eventually, when I
happy.
get to that one, I want to go back and watch some discussions. Yeah, and I've been intimidated by it. And so, what would be your 30-second sales pitch? Like, what would someone get out of this, and why do some people maybe find it so difficult?
It's the same thing as with Malazan.
People? Okay.
It's the same thing as with Malazan. Its complexity is wildly overblown. You can read you can read the fun story of a young apprentice having to leave his guild to make his way through the world and ending up in a position of power when he looks back and tries to find out why and how he ended up there. That's the story. And you can enjoy
However,
you can enjoy all of that.
Also, just like Malazan, I think an important attribute that a reader should have is that you can relax about uncertainty.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff going on that you will not understand.
Okay.
Right. It may be explained later. You may get it. It may like go off like a light bulb in your head eventually. But at the beginning, especially in the first book, there is just a whole bunch of weird shit that happens and you will not get it.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to be okay with that and relax.
I don't not getting things.
That's
if it makes you feel better, Herr Professor Dr. Fantasy didn't get it either.
Yeah, there's plenty.
There's a beautiful thing at the end of Citadel of the Autarch, the 4th book. Like, and I'm not
spoil anything.
It's not a spoiler. Near the end, the narrator says, when he talks about like I've ended up here and sort of land, and if you didn't understand some of the things, just go and read it again, as I will write it again. And that's like the ballsiest thing. Cool. I've seen an author goes like, if you didn't get it, just go read it again.
Go read it again.
The problem is with that book, it is absolutely true. You read it again after you read the whole thing, just like Malazan, and you read it the second time. You're like, oh, he did that. And he did that right there. And I missed it the first time because I was too distracted by someone fighting a duel with poisonous flowers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
the
that's
other
a good
thing.
observation.
Yeah.
And
Interesting.
Josh, I think you've expressed a bit of reservation about Malazan because of the uncertainty
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
That's
and-
why I haven't picked it up yet. Yeah.
yeah. But I think Raph is right. I would say they're both similar in that regard, where you get to the end and that puts a lot of things in perspective, in a new perspective that makes you appreciate what you read earlier. It does not that you have to go back and reread the entire series. That is actually not necessary. You'll get plenty out of the first read. I can say that for sure. But I also remember reading Malazan the first time and loving it, but also feeling confused and realizing that I'm going to have to read this again, I think.
Right.
But even at the end, the first time, it's like, okay, now I think after finishing The Crippled God, now I appreciate this aspect of Gardens of the Moon, or
Right.
I feel like it's
I've been
problem
really
of-
enjoying the read along that's going on right now. Like watching in the Discord, especially on the Grimoire. A lot of people are discussing it on the Grimoire. Alex and Jordan and like a whole bunch of people are just like, I have no idea what the fuck is going on, but I love it.
But that's part of the joy. And I think
And
it's
they're
something
just
that
like they're it's blowing their minds. And like Jordan wrote a message, it was almost incomprehensible because like she wrote it yesterday. She was like, this happened and this happened and this happened and this happened, and then I have no idea what happened. And then her next message was, but I'm loving it. And I love seeing that because it's,
I think that's something we've lost in a lot of ways with contemporary fantasy, and it probably comes from like computer games and stuff. It's like we feel that books are self-contained worlds, and that like every question we have, there is a definite answer. And with worlds like Malazan, or what Wolf does with Book of the New Sun, there is no definite answer for a lot of questions we have. We can't find out. And so a lot of this is just like playing puzzles and finding out what references you can tease out. And the question is like, are they in there, or I, the reader, am I putting them in there because I have read a specific book and it reminds me of that? And it plays very much with that aspect of like, how many connections can you make, and enjoy the connections for what they are, because maybe Gene Wolfe put them in there on purpose, or they're just there because, something just echoed for you and you're like, wow, it resonates, it works.
that's almost a spoiler, Liam.
Not really.
No, not
really.
I mean,
it's actually helpful. Theo,
it's
you
super
should also
helpful.
know that there are books written about how to read Book of the New Sun. So
I know. How is that not terrifying? Like, how does that make me feel better? You know,
you can read it as you can read it as an adventure story and go with just like the beautifully unique, weird world that is full of stuff that you don't see in any other world. As I said,
it has its own dictionary.
I actually like this idea.
I just did a review of the first book, and put it out a couple of days ago. And I said at the end, I have a little section at the end, how to read it. And I'm reading it for the third time. And I bought the chapter guide, which explains a lot of the symbolism in each chapter and that kind of thing. I bought the dictionary, which goes through all of these words that Wolfe has resurrected from Latin and Spanish and German and English.
Greek.
And then I said, do not read these when you read it for the first time. Right? Because
don't get bogged down with it.
Well, no, because being confused is part of the experience of reading it.
Yeah, right.
You know, that is part of it. That is not a negative side effect. It is intended.
Right.
Like I don't know anybody who would be completely cool and get everything the first time they read it. Right. It's
my favorite
reread.
kind of story is one, and it's probably a very difficult line to straddle, particularly as an author that Philip probably understands better than most of us, is to have a story that's enjoyable, especially for first-time readers.
Yeah.
Something that you can just relax and enjoy, and then dig into much more if you want to. And then if you reread, the ability to derive more value for, like, how do you hit all of those things? That must be a very difficult thing to extract out of a story.
If you talk to the snobby people outside of our world, like science fiction fantasy, if you talk to those snobby people who are like, yeah, science fiction fantasy, not really literature, but every now, like I watched a guy, I won't name names and shame anybody, but I watched a guy the other day who is all about that. Like he's talking about philosophy, he's talking about literature, with a big
Right.
L.
Real
You
literature.
talk about me?
No, not you at all. And he did a video called something snobby like worthwhile fantasy and science fiction for the literature fan or something like that, where I was just like,
Wow.
you are a fucking wanker, but I'm going to watch this video. And one of the things he talked about was Book of the New Sun.
Of course.
Because it
Interesting,
has
yeah.
such a depth. It has like the writing is masterful in ways that you don't even realize until you read it for the second time and the third time. You know, it's really, really good writing, you know, and Wolf is kind of a genius as far as that stuff goes.
I've heard that. And that's what attracts me to it is.
And you
apparently
can
he's still
read it
good.
for the plot because the plot is good. It's fun. As I said, like it's a very classic. I don't want to say hero's journey. It's like you have your young apprentice who has to leave his guild, go out in the world, have adventures, and then finally come back home. And then he tells, like from a first-person narrative, he tells his story. So in that regard, it is similar to, say, Assassin's Quest, like the Farseer trilogy, like the Fifth stuff.
One of the things I really enjoyed from our chat, because Philip and a friend of his, Paul, and I did a spoiler chat about Shadow the Torturer.
Yeah,
and I think Paul brought this up. There's a short essay that Neil Gaiman wrote about reading Book of the New Sun.
Yeah, Neil Gaiman loves it.
And he one of the best things he said is there are authors who write to prove how smart they are.
Yeah.
And there are authors who write smart to make you feel smarter when you understand it.
I love that.
And that's
I love that kind of book,
and
I love
Neil
that.
Gaiman said that is Gene Wolfe. You can imagine him off in the corner giggling when you get something. You know, he's enjoying you picking up on the smart things he did because you're both smart. You know,
It reminds me of
It's very
Erickson
cool.
for sure.
Yeah,
Erickson does.
Yeah.
Although
Also.
Stephen Erickson does not like Gene Wolfe. They had like a run-in at a panel at a convention once, and they'd really disagree on stuff, which I can see because Gene Wolfe, as a person, was a very conservative.
He was quite
Catholic.
conservative. Yeah,
Very conservative, and very
Catholic.
Catholic.
Yeah.
I
but-
don't mean to interrupt, gentlemen, but it's been a pleasure. I have to go, but I just wanted to say again, congrats, Matt. Thank you so much for thinking of me to pop on and stuff. And
thanks
everybody else. I hope you guys have a really good weekend. And
You were
talk to you guys soon.
my little story about you is right when I was beginning, and I was looking at your videos and I was thinking, fuck, this guy has like the best production quality of anybody on BookTube. And I have a background in photography, and I used to do some video production, but I'm way out of it. And I wrote you out of nowhere and said, how do you get better production quality? What's your setup? And Theo spent some time with me, recommended some lights and stuff, and it really, really helped me. Really, really encouraged
Thanks,
me. Right,
man.
at
I
the beginning.
appreciate that.
So,
You're doing amazing, and the content's incredible. All you guys, I can say the same about. You know, I love all you guys. I follow you guys closely. So anyway, have a good one. It's a pleasure to be amongst you guys, and I'll catch you guys real soon.
Take
Thanks
care,
for coming,
Theo.
Theo.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Yeah, but that's another thing. Like the production values, you. It's one of the reasons why I think you're so successful, Matt. It's exactly that. You know how to do that, and with like how to edit properly, how to do all these things. Have good sound. You have good sound. People underestimate how important it is to be able to talk in a pleasant, understandable way.
I spent a bit of money on a good microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah. My microphone. I had this thing, right? The Yeti. Yeti X.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really happy with it.
Yeah.
It was cheap.
Yeah.
And it's okay for something like this. But I kept listening to my own videos when I was editing them, and I was like, it's just a bit flat somehow. And
you need more bass.
And well, and that matters to me because I know audio. You know, I've done this stuff in the past.
Yeah.
And I bought I don't have it anywhere nearby, but I bought a cheap but actually really good boom microphone. Like cheap for a boom microphone means $150.
Yeah.
And now
is it a Shure or is it not a Shure?
No, it's an Ars Technica.
Okay.
The Shures start at like $600.
Yeah, that's true. Those are the shit.
those are the amazing shit. But the Ars Technica got really, really good reviews. I did some research, and I wanted something where I could pick up my whole setup really easily
Yeah.
and put it at my desk where I shoot with the background with the bookshelf.
Yeah.
Or I could put it in my living room where I do the like monthly wrap up kind of chats and whatever.
Yeah.
That I can move the whole thing easily.
Yeah.
So I have like a stand with a boom microphone, and I can move that, and I get good audio from it. So
yeah, that's really good. And that's really important. It's like I wish I had that. I'm filming on a GoPro because it's extremely easy to use for someone who doesn't actually see the touch screen. A lot of cameras and stuff just use so much like touch screen stuff, and it's very difficult. It's like I wish I had better audio because that's like for the stuff we do, audio is so important. Audio and how to actually talk. And it's one of the things that no, but that's the thing. Is like we all believe that we can talk, and we can. But there's a difference. If you know people that have had voice training, whether it's Joanna with her classical music stuff, or I have friends who have like trained songs as sopranos in operas and shit. Like you can tell, even when they talk, you can tell that they have had voice training in a way that I certainly haven't, and I guess you probably also haven't, right? It's like it comes through, and it makes it easier or more attractive or more engaging to listen to those kind of people.
You know what? One of my early amazement experiences was with Josh. I watched one of his videos, and I was very conscious of myself when I'm recording videos.
Yeah,
and I'm like, and I'm making smacking noises with my mouth and all this sort of bullshit.
Yeah.
And I watched one of Josh's videos, and there were no cuts in the entire video.
Yeah,
and it was 14 minutes.
Yeah,
and he didn't say ever, not once, and there were no cuts. And I was like, nobody can do that. What's wrong with you, dude? You're a robot. What the hell?
No, he's a teacher. He's a teacher. That's what
and a
he is.
performer.
That's part of it.
You
That
know?
must have just been a really good day, though, because I do have those where I have to shoot my intro like 17 times cold open. So
yeah, I mean, I know how that goes. I do that all the time. But I was just amazed. And the other guy who amazes me is Mike. Like Mike has years of podcasting experience.
Yeah, that helps.
So
Very smooth.
Like he will talk for like 10 minutes, totally smooth, no ums, no weird pauses, no weird mouth noises, like all of my videos. I'm working on it.
Yeah, but that's it's a practice. I feel like I've gotten way better with just like freewheel talking. I mean, like all my videos are one shot, and I just like ramble, and I've gotten way better at like rambling in English, which is not my first language.
Yeah, that's impressive too, by the way. Absolutely. I mean, Raf, you would not want to hear me doing my videos in German, I promise.
I'm pretty sure nobody but maybe Raf would want to hear me doing my videos in German, even though I'm fluent.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be that interesting for most people, I think. You'd probably understand it, Philip, but
I'm actually much better at reading than comprehending or hearing, But anyway, I've been in 2 discussions already today. This is my third. So
I was actually just going to say we're coming up on 2.5 hours that I've been on this anyway.
Yeah.
So it may be time to wrap it up.
That's
all
right.
Thanks you so much, guys, that you
Thanks for
came
having
by.
us. Yeah, congratulations.
Congratulations, Matt. You're awesome. We're lucky to have you.
Thank you very much. I'm lucky to have all you guys as well. It's been absolutely fun.
Yeah.
See you all later. Thanks everybody in the chat as well.
All right.
She was only Evie, just arrived. Hi, Evie. We're just ending. But
watch the replay.
Thanks for coming by. There will be a replay to watch. So please.
Great chaos at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. We had up to 10 people at one point.
Everyone showed their weapons.
Yeah, exactly. I've got my dagger here. Thank you all, everybody. Thanks for the congrats. It's been a blast. I look forward to seeing you in another live chat soon.
All right. See you around.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.